That's a hot take.
Swinging around American flag, because that's what America's supposed to be. It's supposed to look like permanently chill.
The insurance commercial has a fat ass, but like no personality.
Yeah, I feel like sitting here and listening to this.
No, god damn it. Isaac, New Noise is not the first fucking refused album.
Rip Isaac a new one today. Do you know what I mean? Like...
Don't touch my records. Ever. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Hot Takes. It is I, young SHIRO, and Dr. Chris's empty chair, I guess. Skeleton Lipstick is going to make a grand entrance any minute now. I think he forgot that it's Hot Takes time. Welcome, everybody. Anybody that's new to Hot Takes, this is a bi-weekly internet radio show / talk show / interactive chat / podcast known as Hot Takes. The takes are mostly mild, but sometimes hot. We do strong opinions, we do arguing, we do debates, we do discussion, we do anything you want. We just don't do racism, sexism, transphobia, homophobia, none of that. Thankfully, I'm really proud of the Hot Takes army. I've not once ever had to call anybody out, ban anybody, or talk to anybody. Everybody's been cool. Welcome, everybody. We've got some mods in the house today. I want to introduce our new mods. Indie Advent, In Rail, Zodicus Karamazov, who also is the Hot Takes homie of the day. Shout out Zodicus. And Quiz. I don't see Quiz in here, but I'm sure he will be soon. As a formality also, Dr. Chris and Lux are mods as well. So y'all behave yourselves. Since the Bermuda Triangle seems to have swallowed up Dr. Chris, I'm going to start out with a recommendation. Actually, I have lots of recommendations. I have been on a Vaporwave. Oh, there's a cat. Oh my god, do you guys see that cat? Oh. Maybe my co-host will be a cat. But anyways, I've really been on a Vaporwave train lately, and we almost lost her. Yikes. You can go ahead and mute yourself if you want to. Here he comes. Hey, welcome to Hot Takes, Dr. Chris.
Hi. Happy I could make it. How's everybody doing today?
We got a packed house, man. I laid down the law, introduced the show, and Lux dropped out for just a minute, but she's back. I'm going to start out with the recommendations, if that's okay. I have so many, but at the very, very top of the list, if you guys have not heard VCR Classique, it's fitting that I bring this up on Lux's episode. VCR Classique is one of the best modern iterations of late night lo-fi I have ever heard. And specifically,
I agree with that.
The album Exotics on Business Casual is full of just wall-to-wall, extremely romantic, just going back to the Skyline penthouse suite at 4 a.m. after a night in the ballroom type vibes. When you're so exhausted, the sun's coming up, but you don't have to do anything. You're going to sleep in your big comfy bed and possibly enjoy some passionate lovemaking before spending some time just relaxing. Highly recommend VCR Classique. What did I say? It's called Exotics. You can find it on BizCaz87. Guy's got a lot of other albums. Thank you for posting, Indie. He actually just released, sadly, what is I suppose to be his last album. So definitely,
really? I didn't know that.
Apparently, I mean, I kind of hope it's not really his last album. I'm just starting to get into his discog, so I want to hear more. So check out VCR Classique, guys. And we got Chris with the hot take.
Yeah, I'm also going to say, while we're on the subjects of VCR named bands, or producers, that is to say, I'd like to also recommend that people listen to VCR Not, who I think is a phenomenal synth-based vaporwave producer who makes very woozy, interesting textures. And, it's a sound that I think has, people have explored before. But when I hear him do it, I hear a lot of passion and I hear a lot of creativity. And there's, I think at all of his albums, New Islands, Screens of Solace, and Destination are all extremely extremely great experiences. And there's one song by him called Dark Passenger, and it's one of my favorite tracks in general. So I definitely recommend listening to, if nothing else, I mean, you should listen to all of it, but direct recommendation for the song Dark Passenger by VCR Not. And
you should drop that in chat.
Underrated.
I need to check that guy out.
Drop that. I think he's very underrated, or not really underrated so much as just unexplored. I think he's a wonderful artist, and I would like more people to check him out. VCR Not.
Hell yeah.
Okay, hot take?
Hot take, man. Go for it.
Okay, my hot take is So basically, how do I phrase this? A really important portion of the Vaporwave scene involves a lot of ambient music, right?
Sure.
And whatever you want to call that, sometimes you can basically just call it like an ambient Vaporwave. Sometimes it's a dream punk sort of vibe. Sometimes it's a just a straight up ambient vibe. But my thing about this music occasionally is that a lot of people do it, and a lot of people have been doing it for a long time, and sometimes just doing a haunting tone, I don't think it's enough anymore. I think that when this music gets made, that you have to understand that like a lot of people have done it and a lot of people are doing it, and it's a sound that's really been established pretty thoroughly. And if you're going to do it, like, I need some fucking more creativity aside from a haunting tone that just sort of like blends like forever. Like, I really am a big fan of like Trapes. Trapes, I think, does this in a very interesting way.
Trapes is very eerie music.
Yeah. Trapes is wonderful, right? Now, Trapes, I think, does this kind of music in a way that sounds like him. Like, it's the same thing I've maybe mentioned before about some classic Vaporwave style music. It's like, well, if you're going to do this, then you really need to bring something new to the table. There needs to be like a cohesive sound to it, and something interesting that you're doing, and maybe a really, really kind of eye-grabbing and attention-grabbing theme to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that kind of music is now getting into a bit of an issue that some classic Vaporwave occasionally would get into, in that it's becoming a little bit disposable. It's becoming a little bit, everything sounds exactly the same. It's becoming a little bit of like, where's the fucking creativity? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a hot one, man. Out of curiosity, did you ever fuck with like ambient music, like Tim Hecker? I know you love One O Tricks Point Never, so yeah.
Well, One O Tricks Point Never, I don't even know what to call that. You know what I mean?
He pushes every button.
That's a whole other universe of sound. I mean, that's my favorite artist, right? I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything controversial by saying like there's a lot of people in Vaporwave who would consider that, and all of his extended works, whether that be Ford and Low Patton or Games or obviously the Echo Jams, right? Like that's the guy right there, right? That's something wholly different. But I'm talking about sometimes it's an ambient music that's just a long tone that's drawn out throughout the whole thing, and I don't know. I think that got to push it a little bit harder occasionally, right? You got to push, even if you don't want to change up the way you're making it.
I mean, we need innovation everywhere.
A little bit theme. Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard because it's like, there's a lot, like you mentioned Tim Hecker, there's a lot of people who are doing this extremely well and have a very established career. And like, I don't know, man, if you're gonna get into that world, you really should look at it as a challenge to yourself to compete against the best people, not compete, but to hold your music against the very best in that genre. And I think this goes for any kind of genre.
To stand out.
When you make music, you should write your music and then listen to like your favorite artist that makes music similar to that, and just see like, is this like, am I in the same vein right now? Am I in the same world of this? Like how, and if I'm not, maybe I should go back to the drawing board and get a little bit more creative, put a little bit more time into this, and really meditate on what I want it to sound like. And I don't know. I mean, that's my hot take for today.
That's a good hot take. I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat reference Desert Sand is warm. Is warm or feels warm? It feels warm. Desert Sand feels warm at night, which does a lot of original compositions, slush wave based on original compositions. So it's pretty exciting. They're also wanting to know what our favorite Tim Hecker albums are. I'm going to go with Harmony and Ultraviolet. What about you?
Ultraviolet's really good. Let me think about that one, because obviously, like, I mean, I think the one that like really turned me on, I think that probably turned on a lot of people is Rave Death, right?
Yeah.
Like that
1972
was
or whatever.
That was the first one. Yeah, Rave Death 1972. Yeah. But at the same time, like Sometimes I've been listening to love streams a lot actually lately, and it changes a lot.
Gotcha.
Rave death. You always come back to rave death, but I don't know. I've been into love streams lately. Yes.
Well, before we introduce our lovely, highly anticipated, excited guest, I have a controversial question that she's going to really have a lot to say about. I know you don't really like probably ranking things, but I just got to know, man. If you had to be on a desert island and you could pick Ford and Lopatin or you could pick games, which one would you pick? You can only pick one. Ford and Lopatin, right?
I know that that I will get some disagreements from some other people possibly, but just Ford and Lopatin is just like there's just so many sounds for me to listen to on it. Like I can listen to that album, and there's like so many different textures and sounds that can be discovered in every song. So for me as a synth guy, you know what I mean? And me as somebody who really likes synthesizers a lot. It's a fun album to listen to because I can tell that those two guys are having a really fun time just kind of exploring their synthesizers and being like, oh, let's try this one. Oh, let's put a little bit of this one on here. You know what I mean? It feels like a, you know what I mean? It feels like a warped Yes album. You know what I mean?
That's such an interesting and cool description. I love that.
Yeah.
I just love that it's a concept album too.
Yeah, that too. So it's really fun. But, this is, and also there's, I guess, just more music under that moniker in general.
True. Well, but
let me tell you, Shadows in Bloom gets played at almost every Terminally Chill that I...
Shadows in Bloom is a solid fucking track. I'm trying to figure out which one is my favorite because it keeps rotating. Probably...
MIDI Drift is good too, obviously.
Oh my god!
But there's only it's an EP.
Planet Party, dude. Planet Party, just that wailing guitar, dude. I'll take Planet Party. Yeah. I wish they would make some more of that music, man.
The first time I saw, there was a music video for Planet Party, and it was one of the first times I'd seen that concept. Well, I mean, I don't even think it's on YouTube anymore, but it's one of the first times I'd seen that concept of repurposing these memories from VHS tapes and family get-togethers and putting them into into a music video format. And I remember thinking that was oh, that's fascinating,
right?
Of using this media to be evocative of a certain type of feel, man, a certain type of lost feel.
I hope somebody has that saved somewhere. Videos.
Yeah, but it's when they I remember watching the Planet Party video, and there's scenes of people going to visit amusement parks, and clearly these amusement parks aren't even around anymore, or footage from some weddings, and so it's just really evocative of the idea of the promise of a better tomorrow.
Right.
But the music, it gets wavy, it bends, it pitch bends, it melts a little bit, and it's there's this promise of everything being okay. But is it? You know what I mean? I don't know what happened to anybody in these videos.
Super surreal.
Anyway, interesting stuff. Love it.
I just had to ask because Lux has some pretty strong opinions about that duo. So, do you think our guest needs any introduction? I mean, should we just bring her on? Or should we sing her praises for a few minutes?
We'll sing her praises for a moment. It's Luxury Elite.
Right.
It's obviously a very important person to you, but also in general, someone that we've both known for an extremely long period of time. Constantly inspiring, extremely supportive, one of the kindest people I've ever met, and just
by a mile,
one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met too when it comes to cult music and subculture music in general. This is a person who has done her homework, and the reason she does the homework is because it's just so much fun for her. You can just whenever you speak to her, you can feel how much
reservoir of knowledge,
passion, love, and connection that she feels to this music. You know what I mean? It's extremely sincere, and it's one of the reasons I've been friends with her and you as well, and obviously involved with her, but prior to that, friends with her for so long is just because it's such a wonderful, interesting human being in general.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to tell her story for her, but she got her start with the SPF 420 group. Shout out SPF 420 in Turntable. Big fan of Black Moth Super Rainbow. Apparently Vaporwave started due to a small group of Black Moth Super Rainbow fans. So Lux is... I don't want to tell her story, but she's an OG, and she invented late night lo-fi, or at least coined the phrase, and had several successful record labels, most notably Fortune 500 records in 2012, 2013, 2014. She ran radio shows like Neon Nights. She's performed in the URL sphere and IRL. Many countless people look up to her. I don't think there's anybody that could say anything bad about Luxury Elite.
And of course, Lux and I have the Lipstick Elite album that we made together.
And of course that. Absolutely. Iconic. All right, guys. We are about to reveal Luxury Elite. So y'all go ahead and close your eyes. And, hey, what's up, Lux? You want to go ahead and come off mute? Got him.
What's up, Lux?
Oh my gosh. Don't I look pretty, you guys? Oh,
Look at her. She is such a looker. L in the chat for Lux.
Why?
Oh.
I wasn't going to reveal my face. I'm not going to do that. It's like
Right.
not part of the Lux thing.
Damn, this chat
I
is
gotta
going
be fair.
crazy.
I
You,
know, 69 people. Some are
69, nice.
Cheers, people.
You wanna
God.
you wanna tell us what you think of Ford and Lopatin being the objectively better?
I already know Lux's. I already know she's not going to agree with that. That's okay, you know.
No,
That's fine.
James is far superior. Sorry, guys.
You know what? And that's
Single Patrick was boring.
Look, I totally get it. You know, absolutely. And you know what? Like, I play a lot of games at the dance parties. I enjoy the sound of. Go ahead. Someone else talk for a minute.
So Lux, people are saying your mic's a little quiet. So I just turned you up.
We turn her up.
Not sure.
Okay. How do I sound now? I have like my mic literally at my mouth.
Yeah. So I turned her up, and hopefully that helps a little bit.
Down?
No, I didn't turn you down. I turned her up.
Should we turn us down? Is that like?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, Groovy
right.
says perfect. Thanks, Groovy.
Oh, thanks.
Sweet.
Well, I guess
Whoa.
Ford and Lopatin's not for everybody. Oh well.
I mean,
Well-
look, I like some of those songs. I will admit some of it was interesting to me. I don't get Airbird. I don't get Joel. I'm
Damn.
sorry.
I love
It's not my
Airbird.
thing.
Not so much Tiger City, but I love Airbird. Damn. That's
I
cold.
tried.
Hey, it's
Well,
okay.
No big.
Also,
No
hella
big.
controversial. I've still
Oh.
actually not really listened to Tim Hacker. I'm
What?
gonna be honest. I know that's weird. Everybody's talking about favorite Tim Hacker albums. Also, shout out to the Tim Heidecker Best Ambient Album comment.
Yeah, that was funny.
cracking
Tim
the fuck
Heidecker.
up.
Well, you know, the other thing, like, Lux, is that you are a big fan of, like, so maybe I could see that because, honestly, you devote a lot of your time and energy to really studying these obscure 80s and like late 70s sort of,
Yes.
garage acts, you know what I mean? These synthesizer-based acts from that time period. And so, whereas, like, maybe you're not spending a lot of time on the ambient Tim Hecker stuff, the amount that you're digging into just the obscure knowledge of that kind of music, I mean, who's doing that? You know what I mean?
Seriously. I've
You know what I mean? Like,
seen
that's
some of these
amazing.
deep cut
I used
playlists.
to love Neon Nights because I could hear so much interesting picks from Lux. Just like the encyclopedic knowledge of these cult musicians was just, was just like a gift. You know what I mean? It was great.
It's pretty
I loved
amazing.
hearing- I loved learning from it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think part of it is that whenever I disappeared in 2016, I feel like I kind of like tuned out of a lot of internet music or like years where I could catch up on like cool, like random shit I'd find online through like my Facebook homies. And I mean, I missed out on fucking years of Vaporwave. But like I really dug deep in like new wave and post-punk. And I feel like I'm just now kind of surfacing out of that. I mean, it's so cool as fuck, of course, but I don't know. I'm finally slowly but surely catching up with internet music I've missed. I
go through
know
different
that
phases in life, you know?
Spotify
True.
sucks. I know that Spotify sucks, but I've been using Spotify in my car just to catch up on shit, and it's been quite useful. Fuck Spotify.
sure.
I mean, it
but
works
it's been very
sometimes.
helpful.
Yeah.
They don't pay nobody anything, but I mean, it's great for discovering new music. I get it.
Well, you know, everything is complicated. It's never nothing
It is. It's not black or
so
white.
easy to designate as this or that.
sure.
Things have utility, and then things have their problems as well. And I don't know. We're just doing our best to navigate, and we're trying to
100%.
fucking get access to cool music too at the same time, and get access to artists we might not always get access to, and to really, you know,
Lux, do you want to describe
we're
some
all
of your
just doing our
favorite
best.
music for us?
that's fun. Yeah.
Oh God. Good question. I mean, here lately, I mean, of course, I've been trying to get back into vaporwave things. 2020 and 2021, I've spent so much money on tapes, trying to catch up with everything. Actually just got my autograph.
Very
tape
cool.
in the mail.
That guy's really skilled.
Very
I
great.
would get him on the show at some point too.
I would be down. Yeah.
His synthesizer, that man must have such an interesting past, because nobody procures that many synthesizers without having some kind of interest.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that last week?
I think we did. I did say this last week. Like, without having some kind of, we did with Alex. That's
yeah,
right.
I remember that. So you got the autograph tape. All right.
I got that. I've been listening to, during work, whenever I've been like hella stressed out, I've been listening to a lot of like Weather Channel 90s smooth jazz. That's like really helped me tremendously.
Love it, man.
Yeah, same.
Fucking love it.
That's
amazing.
This one's for real.
That's like the thing about people who are into vaporwave, is just the idea of like, this like McGruff Crime Dog like tape from 1985 that was given as a promotional tool for like Kids in the Dare program. Like, I'd like to experience like this and just like
let's listen to all these tapes from Kmart. Like Opus number 1 slaps.
It does, but just the idea of like studying this music that was made to be disposable. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. And I think that's like one of the big founding blocks of like vaporwave. It's like studying these things that were determined to be disposable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
Somebody chop and screw the Scruff McGruff theme song, please.
Music that was only to be appreciated that was designed to be appreciated in a small time period for a specific reason.
Yeah, like
and then to be like ignored after, and then to just take that and find it and to be like, let's study this a little bit, actually.
Right.
How interesting.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's very immersive. Like, it's very, like, it puts you there. I don't know about you, but like the Weather Channel, I mean, when did they stop doing that? You know what I mean? Like, but
I mean,
just kind of reminds you of
local on the 8s. It's just they don't use the smooth jazz, easy listening music kind of
Oh,
thing
that's
anymore.
so sad.
I know. Like, they've actually played songs with vocals, and they played like pop things. And I'm like, what? This isn't the Weather Channel. I
Right.
love
the
it
Weather
for
Channel.
in the morning.
The Weather Channel is supposed to feel like this random black hole in the middle of your cable stations that you're like scrolling through, and it's like commercial, music video, early morning TV program, Saturday morning cartoon, and you just click this one thing. It's just like it doesn't look like anything else. It's so out
boom,
of place.
stomp,
It's
clap,
just
Weather
like,
Channel.
just like this blue and green like digital grid with like jazz in the background, like, and you're like, what world did I just accidentally like enter some other world? Because this is nothing else on television looks like this, and there's no humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's true. I actually, back in the day, whenever I was younger, my two things that I would like randomly flip to just were the sneak preview channel, like post preview guide sneak preview channel. And I would watch previews for hours.
I did that too.
This was 1998, and then I would watch Weather Channel, and then like whenever I was in high school, or like whenever it was like summer, I would stay up till 2-3 in the morning, and I would just watch Weather Channel and then fall asleep to it eventually. So I'm like, no wonder I got into vaporwave. This
I know, right?
So much sense.
Right?
That's pretty adorable.
I used to watch those preview channels as well, and it would be just so interesting because it's just like everything is just like it's just like this could happen. You could see this. You could see that.
Yes.
It's like, but it's you just like imagine what this movie would be in your head, especially if you were a young kid and you'd watch these previews and like that's all you had was your imagination to think, I wonder what that movie's like. And
Right.
Right.
Then, you see.
I love that you
guys.
guys came to Vaporwave because it like reminded you of things that you had experienced as a child. Meanwhile, like I didn't have TV growing up, but still love Vaporwave because like it leads me to all these things that I've never heard before, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. And then find the source track and like, yeah, that's real good,
So let's get back to that then. So Lux,
Yes.
I remember you before you were even doing Luxury Elite. You know what I mean?
I know.
Oh, wow.
I met you before you were even doing Luxury Elite.
I know.
And-
I was like
and-
your second
and-
last FM commenter. Spoiler alert.
You
LMAO.
were? I just remember like, how did? And then I remember just I was on airlines, and I remember like getting friend requesting people like you and George, and just remember being like, I guess this is what we do now. This is how I meet people that like music similar to me.
Shout out
I meet
airline tapes,
someone
by
in
the way.
Facebook groups. Yeah, it's like I meet somebody in a Facebook group, or I meet someone who's posting in the same like Facebook things that I'm posting in, and I guess now we just friend each other, and now we're friends, and then we talk. And I remember being like, what a fascinating concept, and like what a great way to meet people, because when you're into the sort of things that we're into, you're like, well, it's me, and I don't know anybody else around me who has this combination of interests or fascination with this kind of, with like cult media, you know what I mean? And also has like a background in subcultures, right? Like obviously, like, like everybody in the early Vaporwave scene has some kind of background in other subcultures first, probably like, usually punk shows or DIY stuff, and then like, but it was really fascinating to start like meeting people like you that were into these interesting things. Oh, yeah. And so I have to ask, though, because I remember when, you weren't making music yet, and what propelled you to eventually be like, I'm going to join the cultural conversation, you know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. So Turntable.fm was the start of that. Turntable.
Hell yeah, Turntable.
A decade ago. Crazy. Fucking bonkers. I was playing a lot of chill wave and a lot of like early vapor. Was also really into like Geneva Tuesday at the time. And I was like playing a bunch of different shit. And there were people that were in these chats with me that were saying, why don't you do Vaporwave? Like, you have the taste curation, like you have great taste. I think that you could probably do it. And actually, I thought of the name Luxury Elite. Thank you, my dear. I thought of the name Luxury Elite actually like a few months before actually doing Luxury Elite. And I kept joking around on Turntable chats being like, Luxury Elite's coming soon. Bitches better watch out. Which I didn't think it was actually going to happen. At the time, I was like, that's never going to fucking happen. This name is cool as hell, but it's never going to get used.
Great name.
Like, thank you. Thought of it in the shower randomly.
Nice.
Thought of Elite first, and then I was like, what else would work well with Elite? And I heard Luxury, and I was like, Luxury Elite?
You literally captured like your
Luxury?
own like corner of Vaporwave. Like I almost reinvented it, like kind of snagged that section of just really, really high, classy, chill, smooth aspect of Vaporwave. Figured that and made it yours.
You want to know the inspiration for it? The inspiration was the cover of 6040 by 18 Karat Affair. The two women on that cover.
Man, the inventor of Vaporwave himself.
I've always said that. I agree with that. That's fantastic. Well, there's one thing that Lux is really phenomenal at is identifying a vibe and making it consistent.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, just in the way, I would say just in the way that you even like put your outfits together and the way that you curate, the pictures and the images that you like. And, it's like really like it's a fascinating skill. And it's like I feel like you're almost going to be born with it because I can't do that. But like Lux is phenomenal at putting together a theme. Do you know what I mean? With whether it be an album or an aesthetic, and then creating, just really knowing all the little bits and pieces to put into something to make it a world, and it really comes through in the music.
It does.
It comes through in the entire albums when you listen to them from front to back. And so, what was it like for you to sort of feel like, okay, people are encouraging me to do this? Let's get started. Like, how did you figure out how your sound was going to be and how to make it consistent and how to like make these cohesive albums and just to like to choose your style and how did you come up with that?
So like, it's kind of weird. Like in the beginning, my first albums, which were 1, 2, and 3, my little collective, those albums were basically me kind of like throwing, I actually self-released those on Tumblr and then collected them together and then actually fixed a couple of songs that I wanted to adjust and then released it on Atlantis. Fun fact. Yes. So all those albums were basically, 3 was more cohesive, but 1 and 2 were very much me throwing shit at a wall and being like, okay, what can I do here? Because I learned how to sample through like making ringtones for my friends. Like that's how I learned how to chop shit up. through a
How
WordPad editor.
funny. Are you serious? That's so
Yes,
funny.
That's how are you serious? That's so funny. That's how I made ringtones, and I was like, okay,
Oh,
I
that's
can
too
use
cool.
this to fuck up "Cold Hearted Snake" by Paula Abdul, which was like my second ever my second ever Luxury Elite song. The first song does not exist anymore, and one person heard it. It was bad. I deleted it. Second song was a song called
LMAO.
"Peacefully Hot," and I was like, I wonder if I did this, if I chopped this in here, how would this sound? And that was Tastefully Hot, and I put it on the internet because I was like, this is bad. This is kind of right. I don't.
Hell yeah.
It wasn't until Rose Quartz that I felt like I was starting to get onto something. I felt like the imagery was there. I was really inspired by the record Neon Nights. Obviously, I named an album, or I named a radio show after that. I named a track after that. But there were images in that commercial that was like, it was like a compilation that had like Hall & Oates and like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah,
it's
that.
on my wall. I have the record on my wall. Hold up.
Oh, wow.
It inspired me so much that I have it like as a shrine. But yes, there's like Daz Band, there's Sky, there is Human League, looks like Cool in the Gang, of course Hall & Oates, but that they had a very specific vibe in that commercial that they actually didn't really mimic in any of their other compilations, because that K-Tel actually did a whole bunch of compilations. Nonetheless, I'm rambling here, but that's the aesthetic, I guess, quote unquote, I hate that term, but that whole vibe was very much like I want to do. I know.
Warehouse Union actually had a question. They want to know how you ended up collaborating with St. Pepsi.
Okay, so
they asked like 5 minutes ago.
Okay, I can answer that real quick. So Ryan actually friended me or followed me on SoundCloud. And I think that was like one of his first ever followers. I was like, this name is crazy. That was whenever like his first image was like a Madonna screenshot from like the Madonna Pepsi commercial that eventually got banned. Like a prayer, that commercial.
Damn.
And it was her looking at the television, I want to say, and smiling. I think that's right. But he followed me early on, and he was like new to it and was like prolific as hell.
Hell yeah.
Churning out albums, like 3 albums within like a week or something.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, holy shit. And he ended up finding me on Facebook because I was admittedly not, even though I was like, Anonymity, please. I was really bad at showing myself on Facebook. So he found me and he was like, we need to collaborate. I'd really love to. And I liked his work. I really liked Vanilla Pepsi. And I was like, you know what, let's try this. And that was literally how it's funny, Late Night Delight and like the beginning of Fortune 500 all happened at like the same time. We released, Empire Building, TV Party, and Late Night Delight were basically released like fucking days of each other.
Wow. Unbelievable. Man, you guys were both prolific as hell.
We really were at that time. I don't know how we did it, but we did. We very much did. But yeah, that was how we did it. And and vibe-wise with Flux, it just kind of took time to really capture what I wanted to do with Flux, but I felt like Rose Quartz was on the right path. And as I continued working with samples and continued like really curating what I wanted to do, and I started going really deep in my YouTube searching, like I started feeling like, okay, I want this. This is the vibe I want to have with my albums. I want to kind of do this kind of vibe. And I would search and search for hours until I found something that would fit. And then the screenshots that I used to do a family showcase.tumblr.com. It was like all screenshots that I would grab from hours of like going through videos.
Ooh,
oh, wow.
Family Showcase?
Yes, I was Family Showcase. That was
Damn.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that because
damn, even Chris didn't know.
I didn't know you because I followed that Tumblr. I didn't know that was you.
Oh,
wow.
Bro,
That was
rest in
me.
peace, Tumblr.
That makes a lot of sense now. All right. Oh, I love. Oh my God,
that
rest
was
in peace, Tumblr.
Bro.
Tumblr was.
That was
so
the
much
place.
inspiration. I would spend hours just scrolling through these.
In like 2011, that was the place.
Stills.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the. You felt like you were developing the vibe by the time you got to Rose Quartz. What you were looking for, you were spending hours trying to find the samples.
Yeah.
And the imagery, and
And like honestly, really truly, the screenshots that I was using, my concept was, I want this song to match the vibe of this screenshot that I would use.
That's
It
cool
was
as
kind
fuck.
of weird. I would go into like really weird deep thoughts. Like I would go really find the screenshots that would work perfectly with the song I wanted to capture, and I don't know. I kind of get like kind of obsessive about it, but I mean, I guess it works. A lot of people gravitated to that, so
Yeah,
that's just my
It
take.
clearly resonated with a lot of people.
Well, you know, that's what I'm saying is like when the energy of the artist can really be pushed through in this kind of sample-based music, like it's palpable. You know what I mean? Like people will gravitate towards it. I'm going to tell you right now that I think like a big reason why a lot of the, you know, not original composition, but you know, synthesizer-based composition artists really began to come around to, you know, the concept of being involved in the vaporwave scene. It has a lot to do with Lux, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
A lot to do with Lux.
Wow.
Oh,
Like,
for
thank
sure.
That's high
For
praise.
sure. A lot of the people who were a little like, maybe they were like slightly sample based, but they were still, you know, it was maybe being organized along with instrumentation and maybe vocals. I really do think that like it was really, you know, I really think that like Lux was one of the people who, and obviously Fortune 500, right? That was like, I think that was like a big turning point where people were stopping dismissing and actually starting to listen, right? I think that the problem with a lot of some of the artists that were instrument based and maybe had some minor sampling involved was that they weren't bothering to listen. You know, they were dismissing because they thought this was like, you know, in the same way maybe punk. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
or the same way that, like, I mean, people dismissed punk initially, right? 3 chords, I'm not
Right.
going to listen to that. But, you know, you had Lux come along, and it was like, all right, and people knew you as well because of, you know, you were a fan of a lot of these artists, right? Who maybe weren't exactly involved in vaporwave yet, or didn't even realize that they were involved in the vaporwave scene yet.
Like all the
And they all knew
hypnagogic
you, and
pop
they-
people.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't realize, you know, what was going on. And then obviously I think a lot of people knew Lux and, you know, personally and saw that you were making music and decided and were captivated by the aesthetic you were, sorry to use that word again, but were captivated by the, let's say the vibe that you were curating and putting together. And then after that, we're like, oh, what an interesting world this is actually. And then like, am I also involved in it? And I didn't realize it. And yeah, I think Lux had a lot to do with that. Lux and 18 Karat had a lot to do with that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
Fortune 500. You know what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Chaz brought up synesthesia. Do you experience synesthesia?
I do. I see color in music. Usually, mine is a little bit more basic. I feel like I see a lot of like shades of blue and shades of red, but I
Too
have
cool.
seen songs in green. I've seen songs in gray. I've seen songs in white. Optical Tube by Interpol, great example. Totally white.
Oh, wow. Great song,
I-
too.
Oh, Obstacle 2
we
is such a-
have praised Interpol on this channel.
Yes, I have
You're
synesthesia, and it
stabbing
really
yourself.
dominated.
Such a damn good album.
What I did, it dominated how I set up Neon Nights playlist. It dominated how
wow.
I set up Lux track lists. It would dominate everything for me. And I
How
feel that
long does it
everybody
take
had
for
it.
you to find out what color a song is? Is it within seconds, or does it take repeat
Yeah.
listens? Wow, that's too cool.
Pretty immediate. Although it has changed before. Like I just realized whenever I was listening to Surfing's Hit the Spot, because I'll talk more about this later, but I did a mix recently. And I was kind of revisiting some of my past mixes.
Gotcha.
But surfing, I used to see it used to be a very vibrant red,
Okay.
and now I don't see it in that anymore. It's like a weird, like, kind of like a blue-green now. And I was like, when did this change?
That's so cool.
Wait, do I have a color?
Well, it kind of depends. Your music, Disappointment was like a bright blue for me. Very
How
bright
fun.
blue. Very bright.
fun.
Whenever, that was like my first song that I heard by you. And actually, funny enough, I still remember the first Last FM comment that was made that I think made you be like, what the hell? What are these references? I don't know if you remember it, but Police Academy Dropout, the guy that was once on Atlantis once upon a time, said tobacco plus gold panda equals
Yes, I know this
skeleton
one. It's-
lipstick.
Oh man, okay,
Tobacco
I could
plus
see
Gold
that.
Panda. Yeah, I do remember that. That
I
was
remember
so
Gold
good.
Panda.
Tobacco was Panda. Yeah, that was. I got a lot of like lovely.
I'm telling you,
comments.
man, she remembers everything.
I of course remember that. She's my god, forget about the synesthesia, just the encyclopedic knowledge.
Yeah, she'll be like, oh, what was his name? I
shit.
think it was Scott Michael. Yeah, it was Scott Michael. Never gets a name wrong. Ever.
Yeah, man, like that's like one thing, but like shit, man, like the like the fucking Dewey Decimal System card catalog inside Lux's
I'm so
mind
envious.
of all these.
Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, what was that
amazing things.
VCR Classic album called again? I just listened to it.
I'm like, what happened? What were we talking about at the beginning of the show? And like 15
No
minutes
shit,
ago
right?
again?
Bruh.
Do we?
I don't know. I used to joke that I wanted to write a book about the early origins of Vaporwave. I would joke about it with people because I would remember
You
so
probably
much.
should. I mean,
If you want one day, it's if you want it. Depends on how much
the
you care
power
to.
of me and
You were
Scott
there.
Michael together. Get past.
stop.
oh, yeah.
We've been
What?
trying to get Scott on, but he's got like a very weird schedule. You know what I mean? I remember I tried a long time ago. But I'll work on that one again, maybe. Hey, I have a question though. Let's just go back to Fortune 500 for a moment. What compelled you to actually start curating your own record label like that for a while?
Ooh, fun story here. Okay,
Great.
so Fortune 500, the original concept of that, actually, I thought of Fortune 500. I got the domain for that probably about like a couple weeks before I actually started working on Fortune 500 actively.
Okay.
The original concept of it was going to be, I wanted to do a side A, side B, quote unquote, like single record release kind of vibe. It was my excuse to work with Drips because Drips is like my favorite fucking Vaporwave
Nice.
Hell yeah,
artist of all
Drips.
time.
Nice.
He's amazing. I miss that dude. But I was like, okay, I wonder what would happen if like Shopping World JP and like Miami Vice got together. What would happen?
Shopping World JP. Wow.
Yes, Krista. Yes, I was just kind of thinking like this concept, these two would be cool together. This and this artist would be cool together. What would happen if these artists combined forces? And then I chickened out. It was like, oh no, that's not going to happen. Fuck this. This isn't going to work. So I kind of gave up on that. But then I started thinking, there's not really a label that's out there that's really doing 100% Vaporwave. Vapor Babes at one point was. I don't know if you guys remember Vapor Babes. They were like...
I don't.
Nope.
They had a handful of releases like Cyber Jacuzzi and fuck, what else was there? There was a couple of different artists. I think it ended up kind of being the same guy that was doing quite a few of those. And then of course there was Crystal Magic, but they kind of were Vaporwave, but kind of weren't at the time. And I think they kind of came out at the same time. But like Vapor Babes ended up going into like pirate violence or something. I forget what the term was, but I was like,
That's interesting.
What? So I was like, I want to see a label that is 100% Vaporwave. And I kind of was like, I'll call this my last resort label because so many folks wanted to go with Atlantis, wanted to go with Sun Up, wanted to go with Beer on the Rug, of course, which I totally understood. These labels kicked ass.
True.
I was like, Fortune 500 can be the place where people can go to if they want to have a release out there, but they don't feel like they're not getting the attention that they want. I would be like, yeah, let's release it. Let's do it on Fortune 500. And I thought I did the same Pepsi release first, Empire Building. Then on top of that, I did TV Party. But I wanted a sequel to Late Night Lo-Fi, an old compilation that I did called Late Night Lo-Fi. Quite a few of you are familiar with it, but if not, I can explain that later. But I wanted a sequel to that. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could do a compilation for Fortune 500. And at the time, I had started getting attention on various Facebook pages. Shout out Mr. Nonsense. And,
I love that guy.
Yes.
I wish he would come back.
I
don't know. Mateo.
I know. He's around Instagram.
He is. I mean, he's really brought a lot of us together, in my opinion.
100%.
Dude.
Like at least like took all this stuff and like
That he did
organized it,
one
like-
comp and it had your song on it, and it was Symposium Volume 1.
Yes,
I kept checking back, is there going to be a Symposium Volume 2? Please make a Symposium Volume 2 because Volume 1 was so good.
He should have. He was a great tastemaker. He was.
He was.
incredible.
Tastemaker's really good at putting these things together, and like just like once you put these things together, like then all of a sudden that would be your suggested next video on YouTube now. You know what I mean? Because we all used
Right.
to obviously make, and I think this art has been kind of lost. I want to get back to Fortune 500 in 1 second because we're not stopping that train. We're getting back to that, but I do want to bring up that one thing that has kind of been lost that we used to do all the time back in the early days was we would cut together our own music videos, right? Or people would cut together music videos, right?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, before Artsy Music and Hermes Acosta, it was Mr. Nonsense, bro.
Well, I mean, like we all
And
as
you
the
guys.
artists, well, we all as the artists, we like I made music videos. Like I cut together
Oh, no
in the same
shit.
way that
That's
I saw that
super
Planet.
cool.
Oh God, I have dozens of them.
I didn't know that.
That were done.
Oh, that's
I
so
think
cool.
At least several dozen the music videos I've made. But that's what you did back then.
Yeah.
Was that it was another way to get your music out, or we had other people who made them, like El Famoso Demon and some other people who would do it for us too. Or what's of course the most famous one? What's his name? The most famous
talking about
person.
Well, there's
David
Patrick
Of course,
Lou
David Dean Burkhart. Thank you, David. The most famous person who did this, David Dean Burkhart, right? Who, like, we would cut together old VHS clips from we would find on YouTube or put in ourselves, and like or old commercials and stuff like that, and create our own music videos, right? And then that was just another way that you could maybe have a blog post your thing, because maybe they won't play your new song, but maybe you have a cool music video that
Right.
plays that. Or
100%.
or Mr. Nonsense obviously would post your music videos in his Facebook group, right?
Yeah.
And like that's kind of a thing that's sort of been lost now, is that like people don't really do that anymore. They don't really make music videos anymore like we used to back then.
Because it was so
Yeah.
exciting to see.
It was really
It
fun to
was
see.
Really cool.
The Outrun
And it
Synthwave
kinda
people
organized
do it a little
us
bit,
together.
but not Vapor.
It
Yeah.
kind of
Outside of live
organized us all
streams.
together, because you would put on one of those music videos, and then obviously like if Mr. Nonsense or other people were posting all your stuff together, like that, like maybe Mesh would be the next suggested music
Right.
video, right?
Yeah.
Or Auto or something like that, right? But anyway, so that's kind of been a lost art form lately, is people don't really make music videos anymore, the way we used to. But
I will say though, there are some folks that are still on YouTube actively now that are making music videos based upon commercial blocks that they're seeing. I've been actually
Yeah.
noticing.
That's
I wish
cool.
I could remember.
nice.
I mean, I wish I can remember. Isaac, we've looked at some of those videos.
I was gonna say, you guys make music videos. You did my visuals for the
Yes, I did.
Worldwide Wave event. Yeah.
And they were
I did.
outstanding visuals.
They really
job.
were.
you.
Wonderful job, both of you guys, actually.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you.
I appreciate
That
that.
was- that was
I
a
included an
very
extra
fun-
Ford and low patent track just for you.
You are such a sweetheart.
Joey.
Hey, we actually have a really involved question here from Farplane. He says, regarding anonymity, has it been difficult to remain anonymous despite success in the scene? And then he has another question. And how do you feel about the pros and cons of doing so, especially in a scene that's being increasingly more IRL / focused around people's actual image?
Oh God, yeah, that it's kind of I'll answer the latter half of that first. Like, it's so hard because, like, I really wanted to go. For example, of course I couldn't, but I really wanted to go to Electronicon just as a person that was just a fan,
Yeah.
and not as a person that was playing. Even though George wanted me to, and I declined politely.
Everybody wanted you to.
I know. I know. They even
But
got
you don't-
other
you
people
know-
involved, and I was like, I'm sorry, guys, I can't. I'll
Yeah.
go as a fan, but that would have been really hard because, like, a lot of people, I mean, most people know that that's involved, that's at least been involved in, like, early baby, like Fortune 500, or, like, people I've collaborated with, or what have you. I've friended them on Facebook, so a lot of people know, but, like, some of, like, the newer folks, like, I would want to fangirl to them, but I wouldn't be able to do it in full and be like,
Right.
"Listen, Lux, we talk on Twitter. We
Oh, yeah.
talk." But,
Somebody would slip.
but that part kind of sucks, and it is hard to. The other part that's hard is because it's like, okay, so I do have a personal Instagram, and I do talk about Lux on there. And a lot of people think, because of the fact that I talk about it on my personal Instagram, that I'm cool with it being out there. I've been outed a few times.
Damn.
It happened. And I was just like, hey, I'm not really out there. Can you take this down? Can you like not tag me in this?
Guilty.
I know, it's okay, no worries. But like that part kind of stinks. It's hard to, I try to preserve my anonymity because I don't feel like a photo of me or my personal matters, it doesn't matter with Lux. That's not the point of Lux. The Lux realm is escaping into an alternate reality. It has nothing to do with IRL me. Like that, it shouldn't matter. And that's why
It's
I don't
about the
really want to do
escapism.
a lot of IRL shows. Yes, 100% escapism.
It makes sense. It maintains the mystery of the project, you know? Maintains the mystery. You're right. It doesn't sully the feel of the vibe. And you're right. I think that for your particular project, it serves it, you know?
Yes.
That's a very good point.
I gravitate more towards projects that I don't know anything about and they don't put anything out there about themselves. They just put the music out there as a forefront. Like, fuck who I am, fuck my ego, let me just put this out here and transport you into my world, what I want you to see. I feel like that was like the main objective of Vaporwave, and I don't know, I like to keep up with that kind of thing. My name shouldn't matter. Who I'm friends with, whatever kind of quote-unquote clique I'm part of shouldn't matter. Just focus on what I'm doing, like music-wise. But it is hard, though, to keep my IRL and URL world separate sometimes because some people don't grasp that the main reason why I'm posting about Lux on my IRL stuff is so that way my IRL friends can keep up because they're also Lux fans.
Yes. I'm going to really quick address the chat really quickly for a moment and say thank you, Fader and Origami Vato, for continuing to do outstanding visuals and to make that a big part of the scene, and appreciate you guys doing that. And appreciate the visual artists who really contribute so much to, say, the live streams and everything else. Do you know what I mean?
There are so many big names in the chat right now.
I just want more music videos.
There's so many skilled people in this chat right now.
So many skilled people, so many skilled artists who make beautiful work and add so much with the visuals. I just want to see more music videos for these Vaporwave artists. It would be really fun to do that.
Lux Windmill has a really good question. Windmill wants to know about your songwriting process.
Well, my process is very different from a lot of other people that use more complicated programs. Really, truly, mine has been simple from the get-go. I use a free WavePad editor. I finally upgraded and got one that would not crash on me every 5 seconds. But I literally would just download the wave, would use just like a basic looking like WavePad editor where you can like see the waveform, and I would chop and cut and paste everything myself.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. I am very different. I told Kevin that equip and he was like, what? That sounds like that's harder. I'm like, I don't know. It's something that I've done.
It's so smooth sounding.
Yeah. I very much, I know how to cut it up in a waveform to where it is not going to clip or
very
peak,
cool,
or make it obvious that I'm transitioning into a different part of the track or I'm looping a certain part of this track again. Mm-hmm. And then honestly, I used to use Audition for my editing from there, but I lost my pirated version, so I used Audacity again. I used Audacity for Blue Eyeshadow, not even gonna lie.
Very nice.
Use it for High Society too. I don't know, simple, but it's simple. I used to be embarrassed about talking about this because people would be like, oh, I use Ableton. Oh, I use this program. I use this. And I'm like, I'm simple. And I was afraid it would make me like not authentic enough. But now I'm like, you know what? This does the trick.
I'm pretty sure you can rest on your laurels at this point.
You know what? It's you use the software or the hardware that you're comfortable with to create your art. And it's not, and if you get lost in these games of what's more complex or what's more respected, then you're not doing, then you're gonna get stuck in the wrong thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not a competition. If you're getting your point across in a simple program as well as you would in a complicated program, then who gives a shit? Really, truly.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Completely agree.
Just learn how to use CDJs.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, I just
I gotcha.
It makes my life easier when people can use CDJs because then I don't have to have a bunch of shit hanging around on the DJ tables. They can just bring a
Your
USB
poor
stick
mixer
with
is
them.
crying in the corner, not getting any use.
Like it just makes my life easier when like I just remember like doing the after party for the first Electronicon. And and that was on the big stage at Elsewhere Space, and there was just I had about like 11 people who were a part of it, like Ryan had his own stuff for St. Pepsi, like James had his own stuff for DDS, the Virtual 94 guys had their own things, and just had like a big mixer in the middle, and I kept having like switch people out and fade between the mixer to other people's equipment. And I just remember being like, oh, God, if people knew how to use CDJs, this would be so much easier. And like you got to worry about like, I had like a table on the side of the stage, where like a side table where I'd have people like just setting up their computers and stuff over there, and it just. Yes, learn to use CDJs if you can. No, it's just the club.
Just had to get you a little hard time for that.
If it's a performance show, that's one thing. Do whatever you want, because if it's a performance, you're allowed to have breaks and stop and set up, and it can be a whole different vibe. But for a dance party, like we're supposed to keep, it's about the audience, it's about the energy. We're supposed to keep this going. You know what I mean?
Just hit echo out.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You can definitely do a dub echo, but
I'm just messing with
looks
you.
more. Just looks more professional. Looks better. Makes the techno assholes get off our back.
Oh man, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled. Somebody had another question for you, Lux. They complimented you on your collaborations, which you just had, or did you?
Oh.
I don't remember. But anyways, they complimented you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And they had a question.
Yes.
I didn't mean to cut you off. In addition to that, they wanted to ask you if you had any advice for how to take on collaborative projects.
Honestly, they're very scary. Yeah. I actually don't do collaborations very often because they make me really nervous. Most of the collaborations I've done, for example, the tracks that I did with Tendencies and the collab that I did with Macross, those were all me. Those were all tracks that I had already done. And
Gotcha.
I sent these tracks to, I sent Glowing and Trifusion to Tendencies. And
Sick ass
track.
track.
Walk on by track to Macross, and I was like, hey, this feels like there's something missing. What can you do to make this sparkle? That's literally how
sparkle.
it actually.
I am going to start using that verb so much more often now. What can you do to make this? How can we make this sparkle? 100% doing.
That's 100% how I did it. And then they sent me the final track, and I was like, okay, let's go. This is perfect. This is beautiful. Because otherwise, I don't know. I'm just not really. I'm just not very good with sending stems over. I'm not very good with. I just go ahead and make the song, and then I send it over to the other person, and I'm like.
Is that how you guys did it?
Pretty much, yeah. I took the Lux tracks and chopped them up, turned them into something different, and sent them to Lux and said, "What do you think?" But all the components were from her. Do you know what I mean? The components were from her, and I maybe added like a. Yeah, exactly. And maybe I maybe added a synth or two over certain spots, but the whole point was I tried to do it sparsely so that if I did it, it would fit in with Lux's work.
Gotcha.
And you would not be able to tell the difference between what was sampled and what was maybe a little bit of synthesizer. Maybe there'd be an extra drummer.
It was pretty smooth.
You shouldn't be able to tell like what is from where. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. Yeah, I thought, and once again, the whole thing that I thought was interesting was taking the songs, which were broken down, into like, you take the song and you turn it into this echo of a memory that you have and a feel that you have, and it's infused with Lux's energy. And then I just took it and took this, this segment, and then just chopped up the segment and built it back out into a pop song.
Yeah. Deconstructed and reconstructed.
Yeah, I thought it was a very post-Vaporwave concept to do. Because it's like
fun.
It was fun. I
remember you sending me Feels Like Life and Holiday over, and I was just like,
thank you.
My God, this is a dream come true.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe we do another one someday. We'll see when the time is right, maybe. When the time is right.
Cool.
I would love to when the time is right. People bug me all the time to be like, well, is there going to be another one? Like record labels and shit. And I don't know, maybe when the time's right.
That would be sick as hell. Somebody else had a really good question, and I lost it. One person wanted to ask how you felt about when you like blew the fuck up, when you got a million views.
Yep.
Yeah, how did it feel when World Class got a million views?
I remember actually. I'm gonna take for Lux said that. I remember messaging Lux one day and saying to her like, "Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that you're a big because she's someone who's always been obsessed with these cult artists, right? These big cult artists." And I'm like, "How funny is it that now you're one?" Like, that's
it's
so
weird.
fun.
It's
so how
really
did it feel?
Bonkers. I remember I actually remember the first song that actually got people's attention, which was Ooh from like, I can't remember. Oh my God, I sound so ridiculous. I can't remember. I think it was from One, the first Lux album. And that was whenever Mr. Nonsense gave me attention. And that was whenever I was like, whoa.
Hell yeah.
Like, people like this? And it just kind of gradually went up from there. And like, it was like, this entire ride is really bizarre. Like, it's
so funny.
It's very baffling to me. Being in the Wire, one year.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were in the Wire one year? I didn't know that.
Adam Harper covered so much Vaporwave. Like Fortune 500 was mentioned. Cool Memories, I think, was mentioned.
Oh yes,
Infinity
the Wire.
Free.
Oh
the
man,
Wire,
Cool
yes.
Memories.
Oh, I thought
That's
you
a
said it
throwback.
on the Wire. I'm like the TV show.
No,
like,
I know, right? with
Wired,
all Avon.
Yes, I absolutely remember those. The Wired does.
That was actually a pretty good show, despite being about cops.
Every season was different, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, it's enough talking about the Wire. Let's get back to how did it feel again?
Fucking Omar, that's my man.
Oh my
Omar's
God.
the best, right? Hold on. That was very fascinating, right? When you kind of, you were someone who was just like this, you were and are like, such a wonderful fan of these quirky, obscure, fascinating artists that have big cult followings, and it's like then you sort of just sort of found yourself transformed into one of them as well, and that's really fun because you're still such a big fan, and I think people connect with that too. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. I feel like it went full circle. I see you guys hating on me in the chat.
Nobody's hating on you. They're just talking about Omar from The Wire.
You're making fun of the Wire thing. It's me being silly.
Oh,
don't worry.
LMAO.
I'm just being goofy. But I see you.
My bad.
I'm paying attention to the chat, and I see you. I was an accident. But no, really, the full circle moment for me was actually 2020 whenever Tobacco invited me to play the Hot, Wet, and Sassy album release party.
Damn.
That was whenever
That's high praise.
That was a full circle moment. Because Tobacco was what even introduced me to Vectroid, to Liz of SPF 420, to the concept of online shows. That was how my adventure into the world of Vaporwave began. So for it to go full circle and for Tobacco to recognize Lux and to be a fan of Lux and to like really enjoy these VHS tapes that I totally ripped off from Fucked Up Friends DVD, like, he knows it. I've told him, I'm like, I totally ripped you off. I hope that's cool.
Hey, I mean, you did a damn good job, though.
Yeah,
man.
Like that was the point where I was like, wow, this is crazy. It's insane to me. Like, I actually left the internet in 2016. Like, I not really, kind of by choice, but kind of not. I was kind of burnt out with all the drama that was transpiring in 2016, but also my graphics card went kaput. So I was like, okay,
that's terrible.
And yeah, and of course I did not know how to fix it or where to go, so I just let my computer die for a while. I didn't anticipate it being dead for that long, but like, I left thinking, well, nobody really cares about Vaporwave anymore. Everybody's really into like dream punk and dream catalog stuff. Hard Vapor was beginning to really thrive and become the exciting thing, and so I expected to come back and nobody give a shit. Truly, I was just like, well, I'll come back because this will be fun. What I didn't expect was were people that found Lux that were intrigued by the fact that I disappeared and then flipped the fuck out whenever I returned. I was like, really? People
just goes to show that it really resonated with people.
It shocked me. I didn't expect it. I just thought that I would be kind of a blip on the radar, which, I mean, I was cool with. I just wanted to make another Locks album because I kind of miss doing it. I didn't anticipate the reaction that I got. So it's just all been really insane. It's like a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment. I'm extremely grateful for it. Just initially being a fan that idolized all these people that I would later be friends with, going from being in love with this random, not even coined vaporwave yet because nobody had a name for it.
We
going
didn't have that
from
word
that
yet,
to
no.
being part of it to being a forefront of it. It's bizarre, but I'm forever
It's fascinating.
grateful.
Be Careful has a really good
Magic.
question. He says, what has you excited about the future of the scene? Any specific artists, subgenres / microgenres, or labels / platforms catch your attention recently?
Oh goodness. I'm kind of bummed that people are going. I'm kind of bummed. I understand and I'm really, really excited, but I kind of am bummed that IRL shows are coming back because I really found it to be so beautiful that with the pandemic that we're of course still dealing with, that so many people gravitated to URL shows. It was like
it was a
like
beautiful
an
thing.
420 breath of fresh air, like interacting with all these new people, seeing these new artists I'm not familiar with. Just kind of like being able, like I really enjoyed getting to know Vaporwave people through their live streams and them showing off their cool visuals, their best songs. I thought that was really cool, and I don't know. I hope the future brings more URL shows, or if they have IRL shows, they stream it online, please.
Right.
Like, because I think that's a really cool, neat concept, and I like interacting with people. I do like the fact that Vaporwave has become more broad. I mean, sometimes I'm like, man, I miss the classic Vaporwave, but I understand that classic Vaporwave, some people can really still pull it off, of course, but a lot of it can get stale. And of course, you kind of want to you kind of want to make it thrive.
You want to innovate a little bit.
Yes, thank you. I was blanking on the terminology, but I don't know. I do enjoy the fact that people are taking, I guess, the quote-unquote Vaporwave ethos and applying it to projects that aren't just Vaporwave, but are kind of paralleling it, and I find that to be really interesting. And I will admit that I am still very much slacking on catching up with a bunch of labels. I have a lot of labels bookmarked on my computer, ready for me to start downloading or streaming or what have you, and I have a ton of albums on my Bandcamp app that I need to listen to. I'm very overwhelmed by it, admittedly. I'm just happy to see this still thriving, to be honest.
I mean,
yeah.
Vaporwave is like no one has the same journey through it. Every single person has a different journey through it. It's impossible to listen to everything. You just find things that you enjoy and you follow down the rabbit hole, and you end up hearing albums that other people don't hear, and they hear albums that you don't hear, and it's just everyone gets their own experience through it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. But I used to be on top of that shit. I mean, you remember back in
clearly you were. Damn.
Of course, but that's like not possible anymore. You know,
I know, and I hate it because I'm like, I used to know everybody.
You have to accept it. You have to accept it. It's so interesting when people like start getting into it and then get into it a little bit deeper, and they just like, you got to just really create your own journey. Everybody has a different experience with this genre. Everybody has a different way of describing this genre at the end of the day. And that's kind of beautiful. That's a little bit of magic right there. You know, you can't really have that same experience with almost any other kind of genre, sort of. I don't know.
Pacific Plaza actually has a really good question regarding that. He wants to know if you have anything to say about all the think pieces that were made about the deeper meaning of Vaporwave. He also wanted to hear you say more about Adam Harper. We kind of changed the subject, unfortunately.
Let me get a drink of water and I'll get this prepared. Give me just a second.
Wow.
Sorry, I keep the chat's got these great questions, so I have to.
The chat is always
chat
amazing.
is going off today.
I mean, gosh, it's always. Everybody, you just shout out to the chat in
Seriously.
general, because you guys are so fun and so fun to interact with, and really appreciate all these comments you guys make, because they're always so thoughtful and interesting, and and
I'm sorry I'm
just
not
fun.
being able to
I
pay
appreciate
attention to
Good
the
job,
chat.
That's my job.
It's hard. It's
Hot Takes
hard,
Army.
because I always have to go back and rewatch it, and I really appreciate all the kind things that you guys say about me or Isaac or our guest. It's deeply, deeply appreciated, and it really just keeps us going with this show in general. Thank you very much.
All right. So, I actually remember the day I remember keep in mind, I was with Vaporwave really early. I actually was with Vaporwave whenever New Dreams LTD, like the first version of it leaked whenever it wasn't supposed to leak. And I remember
Wow.
the day that it actually came out. Like, I was
Mhm.
an early bird. So there was like a year of
Mhm.
trying to dig up this shit while trying to obsessively follow a whole bunch of random Last FM accounts to find
Yeah, I was
similar
literally
things.
just about to say that. Last FM was like
Bro.
a big way that I kept keeping track of this stuff.
Yes, I was desperately trying to find things, and like I remember whenever the article came out, it was a few days after I had done Late Night Lo-Fi 2.
The Dummy Mag article?
Yeah, the first Dummy Mag article.
Yeah,
that came
shout out
out that
Pacific
actually
Plaza for
coined the
linking
Vaporwave
that.
term.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
I remember that day that it came out, and I was just like, I don't really agree with how they perceive it, but of course, that's not really my job to be like, oh, I don't agree with this. I mean,
Right.
that's how at the time Ramona and Robin perceived it, which Ramona ended up kind of like saying in a Last FM, not a Last FM, a 4chan Q&A back in like fucking 2012, 2013,
Oh, wow.
really early on, that like it was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek and people took it really literally, and it was just kind of her just like kind of calling out. She was kind of making a joke on like how people were so desperate to cling on to genres because so many people were trying like attaching themselves desperately to like chillwave, trying to cling on to Witch House, and then C-Punk came
C-Punk.
out. Fucking joke genre.
Damn.
These are very strong opinions. Lux always has very strong opinions about that particular subject. We can get to that in a minute. You do. Like, it's so fun. It's so funny. I really, like, you never really hear Lux get, like, a little bit, I don't know, spicy about things, but you do when it comes to that occasionally. It's funny.
do. I have a lot of feelings about that ego-driven
Oh, Slime Punk. I
genre.
forgot about that.
But it was supposed to be kind of like a joke, but of course, everybody took that article, that first article with Adam Harper, very seriously, and it kind of worked to the detriment of the quote-unquote second waivers, because at the time 4chan was very much into Vaporwave, and I knew how that shit was
Yeah.
going to go.
I used to always check, I used to always go to RebeccaBlacktech.com, which was like the archive you could do to search the
Yes.
stuff, and I'd always like look up my name or look up other
You
my
are
friends'
a-
names on it.
You're a brave bastard for that, I swear.
No,
Wait,
I only
do you read
specifically
your
look
rate
up
your
my
music
friends and
reviews?
myself. I wouldn't. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
I'll read them for you.
No, and I appreciate anybody who says kind words. It's very sweet, but I don't know. It feels sad to see bad reviews too once in a while. I can't do it. I can't do it. But God bless people who are nice on that website and write really thoughtful, beautiful. Because I have read some extremely beautiful and thoughtful reviews from people for my music or for other people's music that I enjoy, and I just wish there was a way I could just go to those. I cannot see the other things that make me sad.
I feel it. I gave up on it. But like as soon as 4chan, as soon as Mew started obsessing, I had seen how the cycle went with Tyler the Creator whenever what was it, Yonkers that came out?
Mhm.
I remember that, and I remember the fandom that came whenever the Money Store came out, because I would use Mew on occasion whenever it was like bored and randomly surfing. So I would see the crazy fandom. That used to not be that way. But I remember seeing that, and I remember seeing people becoming more and more obsessed with Vaporwave, and that was whenever it was like, I'm out. They actually doxed a whole bunch of us.
Ooh,
Fuck
really?
that. That's, yes.
bad times.
So they created the Vaporwave thing, which for some of you who are not familiar, yes,
Oh, yeah.
Vaporwave was a thing. It was a 4chan meme that was created because they did not like me. They did not like St. Pepsi. They did not like SPF 420. They did not like Fortune 500.
Damn.
They called us the cancer that was killing Vaporwave. They thought that we were considering Vaporwave
Gross.
to be a joke because Adam Harper had put out there this hyper-contextualized, hyper-accelerationism, blah, 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 admittedly. This whole concept that I didn't see. And it wasn't concrete, but people took it as concrete because it was put out there in the article. So they looked at St. Pepsi and they looked at Late Night Delight, and they were like, this is not what Vaporwave is supposed to be. You're making a joke. You're making a mockery of this. And they created this meme, and Adam Harper in the follow-up article referenced it, solidified, and like basically verified and agreed with them about what he thought of Vaporwave. He did not like Late Night Delight initially. He used to like give a lot of shit to us.
Really?
Yes, the follow-up
sounds
article
old.
was controversial. But, I mean,
I think Indy actually
Vaporwave-
linked that.
He ended up apologizing on his personal blog spot and like regrets that he had those opinions, because he actually ended up really liking Late Night Delight to the point that he actually put that as #1 on his best album list that year. We were tied with Infinity Frequency's Computer
Wow.
Death, I believe. And he was like, wow, initially I didn't understand it, but once I got it, and he really felt badly about that. So I don't hold a grudge. At the time I was just like, you motherfucker, thank you so much for putting in Dummy Mag that you were not a fan of us and you were solidifying 4chan's bullshit. Thank you so much. But because so many people used Dummy Mag as a reference to Vaporwave. But
I
now,
I see Pacific Plaza, Alex over there mentioning Sea Monster from Tiny
Yeah.
Mixtapes.
This guy knows.
I actually did not
This guy
talk to
knows.
Clifford very much. I didn't talk. I
Really?
know Clifford, but I did not talk to Clifford very much. He's a cool dude. But I didn't really talk with him personally. But he is very much a champion of Vaporwave. I will say that. He is very much a champion of it. He actually released a really cool. Back in the day, he actually kind of inadvertently inspired noir. He was part of this tape label that did these fake soundtracks to old movies. Like he did, I want to say it
That's
was
cool.
him that did a soundtrack, like a fake soundtrack to like The Serpent and the Rainbow. I can't remember, but he did that, and that actually inspired like the noir as a concept. I was like, man, this cool like fake soundtrack is the shit. And I don't know if it was supposed to be revealed that it was Clifford, but it was solely Clifford. But surprise, spoiler!
I love those kinds of albums.
Hey.
You've
But-
done one of those, I think, Chris.
Oh, a soundtrack thing?
Yeah.
I did do a soundtrack for I made a soundtrack for the first David Cronenberg well, I guess second
That's right.
David Cronenberg film, Crimes of the Future. It initially didn't have a musical soundtrack for it. It just had some ambient crackling noises once in a while, but I just thought it would be fun and I wanted to try making a soundtrack for something, so I composed this like 60-minute
I remember that.
60-minute bits of songs for it, and yeah, you can find it on YouTube. I'll put a link in there. And it's pretty good. It's all very it's all my synthesizers. It was a really fun exercise for me to just push my programming abilities and my sound textures.
The chat really wants you to talk about Hoobastank.
Please do.
Multiple people
Scared
have
my
mentioned
fucking
Hoobastank.
cat. I just totally scared my cat with my cackle. Okay, look.
Nice.
Sorry, Chessa. Look, 2001 Hoobastank. I was on an Incubus kick. Incubus was like the reason why. I'm not intended. But Incubus was my exposure to like these early 2000s like Calabasas, California bands. Like I even really got into Audio Vent, which if anybody knows Audio Vent, shout out to you. I don't know. They kind of went under the radar, one album, and then they went kaput. Anyway, I got really obsessed with Hoobastank, and my dad bought the album. My dad was like really into like late, like mid 90s, like I guess quote unquote butt rock. Like he really loved Aerosmith's Get a Grip. But like he also got me into Incubus's Make Yourself. That album was like mind blowing for me whenever I was 13, okay? As was the first Hoobastank album. And also Queen for the Stone Age of Songs for the Deaf. I would not be a Queen for the Stone Age fan if it weren't for my dad. But I cannot fully hate on Hoobastank. I know that people think that they're a joke, and I think that one of the members ended up like showing like Republican tendencies or like leaning towards Republican bullshit, and I was like, God damn it, really? But I don't know. I can't fully hate on Hoobastank, okay? That's my official fucking statement, and I'm sticking with it.
Wow,
Pretend
there
I
we have it on
haven't
record.
What is your...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
No. What well, I don't know. What were you gonna ask?
I was just going to ask another question. Go ahead, man.
Was it is another one about Hoobastank?
No, it's not from the chat either, so you first.
Oh, I just wanted to kind of understand,
Yeah.
Lux, when you make music,
Yeah.
what does it do for you? Do you release a lot of, I don't know, some sort of pent up energies or frustrations? When you go to that different world, does it give you some kind of relief to be something different, to create this new idea of a reality? Like, is there a therapeutic component for making it for you?
Oh, 100%. Okay, I am giving too much credit to a person that is no longer in my life, but a lot of my early albums were like an escape for me. I'm going to be honest and call this shit out. So before I started Lux, my ex basically banned me from using the internet because I was obsessed with it. I was always on it. He actually banned me at one point from using the internet because he was like, you use it too much. You've hurt your wrist because of carpal tunnel. You use the internet too much. And so that was how I actually began Lux, was because that was my fuck you to him. I was like, you know what?
Good.
I'm going to do this, whether you like it or not. And
Who does that?
my ex,
Wow.
he did that. And
So this was a bit of an act of rebellion for you.
A little bit, yes. And I was also dealing with a lot of shit, like dealing with being a person at a part-time job in a bigger city where rent is not affordable, and I was like barely scraping by. Like I would have a $450 paycheck, and I would have $440 coming out in rent, and then an $80 car payment coming out a day later. Like I was dealing, Luxury Elite was very rich in concept, but I was very poor in reality. 100%. I was very much in a very dark place whenever I was beginning to do Lux. That's why I coined it escapism, because really,
No
truly,
shit, right?
this was me going into an alternate reality. I was finding comfort and like solace in these 80s commercial blocks that I was viewing and screenshotting and being like, man, this is fucked up, but I wish I were in this world and I wasn't really in my present, because the present feels really fucking daunting.
Interesting.
Yes, and a lot of my early Lux work was just me like trying to, it was part that, but also part like, oh cool, I used to be a very like not motivated, I didn't go to college, I was doing retail forever. I felt like I had no motivation, that I was doomed to be a person with nothing. I did not feel like I had goals. Like Lux gave me goals. Lux gave me a sense of purpose. Lux opened doors to dreams for me. I created a digital
That's amazing.
label. I did a radio show.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to do radio as a profession, but radio is kind of dead. So I at least did it for fun. Like it opened doors. So I kind of wanted, I was also me like, okay, my situation as IRL name, which I almost accidentally just blabbed, this sucks, but Lux rules. So I'm going to kind of go into this realm and see what I can explore, see what I can do, see what dreams I can accomplish here. Because I feel like IRL me, my situation fucking sucks.
Wow.
That's wild.
Fascinating. What a fascinating, what a fascinating outlet, right? What an empowering move to do, and to just, put that energy in and because you're in this one avenue and it's not working out. So you basically created a whole nother world, right?
100%.
Right. And then look at how that other new world has just been infused with so much of your positive energy and so much of your ambition and so much of your creativity, and how big it got, and how strong you really are, That's so fascinating. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. That all that music is infused, and that art is infused with your energy, and it's infused with, who you are and who you should be. You know what I mean? And it was being stifled in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, 100%. Like it was very much a comfort for me to experience, to do Vaporwave. It was like a nice hug, because at the time I really wasn't interacting with people in the IRL realm. I didn't really have a lot of friends, and like I had my URL friends, and it was a very nice comfort for me. And Lux, I really do say that Lux saved my life. I don't know.
I totally get that completely. Totally understand that.
Amazing.
And do you find the more that you continue on with the project, the more you're able to sort of marry the world of Lux and the energy and confidence that you have from that with yourself in the real world?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I'm the most confident I've been in a long time. I used to have horrible self-esteem. Yeah. Horrible self-esteem. And it started going on the up and up around, I would say by the time 2016 came around and the asshole that banned me from the internet, whenever he left, that was whenever my world became better. And that was whenever I feel like in my 30s now, I feel like I'm more like confident in who I am. And I feel like that confidence oozes into my IRL realm. Yeah. I feel like now is like, I wish I could have been at this place 10 years ago. But I mean, I'm here where I am now because of the lessons that I've learned and the challenges I faced in my 20s. So I
feel the same way. Yeah.
We have a backlog of questions in the chat, guys. Somebody asked...
We didn't even finish the Fortune 500 question.
We didn't. I think Quiz asked this one. He wants to know what the least Vaporwave / Luxury Elite type music that you listen to is that might surprise the audience.
Then that's not Hoobastank.
I know. That's not... I mean, guys, she just talked about Hoobastank, but I mean, top that.
So I haven't listened to them in a while, but I was like on a really big Naked City kick, which I don't know if a lot of people know.
Yeah, John Zorn, of course. Yeah! Absolutely.
I have not heard Naked City.
So Naked City is like a weird, like if grindcore met up
grindcore
with
jazz. Yeah, there.
Oh yeah, you did tell me about that. That's right. Okay, I do remember you telling me about that.
You gotta check out Naked City, Isaac.
I fuck with some grindcore. I bet Angel's a big fan.
I mean, no, but like fuck with Naked City. It's like it's a whole other...
Melt Banana. Hilarious. Yes. I would be down to check it out. I'm not super into that anymore, but I would be down to check it out.
Farplane, yes. Yamantaka, I call him Yamatsuka, but I know that he goes by either Yamatsuka or Yamataka. Yes, he was the vocalist for a lot of their early work before I believe Mike Patton.
I was about to say Mike Patton.
Oh, Mike Patton was involved? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yes. You gotta understand John Zorn is on the wavelength of that kind of guy. Okay, so
gotcha.
Check out Naked City.
Okay,
you like it.
John Zorn is a fucking crazy bastard. I swear.
Oh, for sure.
I
was
love
a
him.
big Fantomas.
He's doing
absolutely.
some shit in Tennessee. He's doing a showcase in Tennessee, and I want to go badly.
Yeah. It's another Maverick artist.
Hell yeah, Fantomas.
What's some other questions that we gotta get to?
One person said, can you talk... no, sorry, not one person. Alex said, can you talk about how you started working with Crash Cymbals? And can you talk about that label?
Man.
Crash Cymbals. Crash Cymbals, way underrated record label. And thank you for mentioning them, Alex.
Yes. So I
Liz and Dwight, who run that record label, yes?
Yes, I'm going to be meeting them soon because they're doing...
you're going to meet them soon?
Oh, that's great.
You tell them that Chris Skeleton Lipstick says hi if you see them.
I will. We're actually...
Thank you.
They mentioned to me a few months ago, they're doing some conventions because Liz actually does like crypt, she's really into like Mothman and like cryptids, and she's part of like a
that makes so much sense. That's of course.
Yeah.
So on brand for them.
She's going to be doing the circuit, but yeah, we're actually going to be meeting up soon. But Crash Cymbals, I actually discovered really early on because I was really into like 2011, 2012, like chill wave, but also it was kind of like hip hoppy, like kind of beat-esque. And Crash Cymbals was, I want to say that they had done some compilations. I want to say, didn't they release the Stephen Ferris album, did they not? I'm trying to remember here. Yes, that's what I thought. So I remember Crash Cymbals from that. And I used to really enjoy what I was hearing. And this is the same story as what happened with Orange Milk. Both of these labels followed me on SoundCloud. Both of these labels reached out to me. And I knew who Orange Milk was. I knew who Crash Cymbals were. I was like, oh my God, they're following me? And they've sent me a message? What? So
that's amazing.
Well, they were like back in the early days, they were one of the, back in the very early days, they were like, one of the labels I kept my eye on because especially before there was like a Fortune 500 that was specifically Vaporwave.
Right.
We had these internet labels that our friends were on or we were on and like had the tendency that would release stuff like that too. Like I would call Crash Cymbals or maybe like Chill, Mega Chill.
Yeah. Per tapes.
And then it's the next one I was about to say was Per tapes. Yeah.
Yes, Per tapes, Hunter and Crystal. Yeah.
Oh, or Plastic Response. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. All of these labels were around and were just kind of there, like helping their homies out.
Such reliable tastemakers too.
They were the labels that were also open to releasing albums by bands that were not necessarily in their hometown, that were internet based, right? They were internet based record labels, and I remember
it was powerful.
I remember like writing down lists of all the people who were doing this.
I remember whenever Orange Milk released Team Jordan's album, and I remember going into their
Team Jordan album,
and being like,
that
wow.
music video for Team Jordan too. One of my favorite Vaporwave music videos ever. I'm gonna put that in the chat.
I have a fun fact for you. That video was done by somebody that I've known that lives in Louisville. He goes by the user handle Zone Catalog. He did that Team Jordan video.
That is one of the best music videos I've ever seen. What did you say?
I recommended him to you before, I want to say. No, wait, did I? I want to say I've linked him to you before, at least in the past. I know
you probably have.
I know I recommended
and that's Teams, right?
Yes, Teams and Jono Milo. Yes, they did that together, Team Jordan. But I remember that video was done by
Stadium. That was the music video. It was Stadium, right? Yeah.
I believe you've shown that to me.
I just remember.
Is it Stadium?
Found out, like a few.
No, this isn't the music video. Where the fuck is it? God damn it!
Ignition's the album.
I'm finding it.
No, it's called.
No, I'm trying. No, I'm trying to find the actual music video online now somewhere.
It's on Vimeo.
Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you.
But 100%, like that. I found that out that he did the video a few months ago because he actually posted it in his Instagram stories. He was like, "Oh, this is the 10-year anniversary," and I was like, "Hold the front fucking door! You did the Team Jordan video?" And he said, "Yeah, I did that." And I told him, "Your video, whether you realize it or not, changed the entire game, and I feel like altered how the
I watched it so many times.
Like it.
I can't find it now."
Oh, hold on, I got you. I actually
got
in the chat. Hold up for just a second. Team, you got it. I think you have to look it up under Zone Catalog because I think he is on his personal Vimeo. Hold up, I got y'all.
While you're looking for that video, if you don't mind me catching us up on the chat's backlogged questions, one person asked a really good question. No problem. They asked, do you see yourself ever branching out into other genres?
Admittedly, as cool as that would be, I don't really know any physical instruments. There's my surprise for you guys. I have been able to play a keyboard by ear. I learned a few songs before my ex took it with them to Arizona. I don't have any actual physical instruments, so I can't really branch out like I would like to maybe one day because I don't really have a lot of resources, and I'm very intimidated by Ableton. There you go.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay, I found the video. Hold on.
I found it.
Y'all should definitely link that.
Damn it!
I remember when I first saw like the
well.
Nobody Here video, and I was just like, wow. This is hitting something very deep inside of me, so I can relate to your love of videos.
I was late to the game with Sunset Corp, actually. I heard Ramona's versions from Telnet Erotica before getting to the Sunset Corp.
Oh, wow.
I found those like 3 months later, I think.
Well, they were amazing.
Yes, they were. Telnet Erotica, it was my first foray into Vaporwave, even though it wasn't really a Vaporwave album.
That's too cool. What a great introduction.
Yes. I mean, she linked it to me. I was blown away, and I was like, I need to find more of this. Where can I find more? This is amazing.
One person asked what your opinion is on Vaporwave's strong connection to obsolete physical media. Do you think that's good or bad for the genre?
It gets kind of scary because it used to be DIY, and so either hand dubbed or what have you. I feel like the fact that we're starting to use like more official outlets kind of runs the risks of us getting in trouble with our samples and our lack of clearancing. That's why, that's one of the reasons why I don't really like doing vinyl, is because I actually heard from a friend of mine that he was like, it's really risky to do vinyl, but apparently people are pulling it off and they're not getting in trouble.
Right.
I don't know. I find more comfort in releasing tapes. I think tapes are cool because of the DIY aspect, and because I feel like tapes are more personal. In my opinion, I feel like. Hey, what are you doing? I'm sorry, my cat is acting really fucking weird.
LMAO.
Sorry, I got distracted by my cat. Okay, she's good. But yeah, I find tapes to be more along the lines of the DIY, I guess, aspect of Vaporwave. So I like that more than I like vinyl. I've had that opinion for a while.
Definitely more affordable.
Yes, definitely.
Smaller.
I've actually sold off quite a bit of my record collection. I keep some. I have quite a bit. But I don't really have a record collection. I just have a really intense fucking tape collection. But yeah, I get kind of worried about releasing like CDs also. I know some folks that have gotten in trouble with CDs, so I get kind of weary about that. I'm like, oh, we're risking it by putting that shit out there. That's my personal opinion of it. But I think that they're neat. I like the fact that people, it's like vinyl it's cool because people are of course collecting and they're getting to hear their favorite Vaporwave records in a new light. I mean, tapes can really make or break an album because they just sound warmer than the digital versions. And I don't know. And it kind of adds a bit of a romantic aspect. And I'm sure that's the same with vinyl. It's just not really my thing. There you go. I think that's a good enough answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Hey!
I would say so. Another person asked if you'll ever include vocals in your music.
I've kind of considered it. I will say that I have a decent voice. I kick ass at karaoke.
You do.
Just saying.
You're actually quite
You do have a good
good
voice.
I have had a lot of people, whenever they've heard my voice, it's been on multiple different occasions, ask me if I was a singer, because I guess I also sing in the way I talk. I don't know. I don't know how, but they would ask me that. And I was like, well, I sing, I just don't really incorporate it. I don't know.
Maybe like
I get
one
kind of shy
single.
and self-conscious. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm very great with lyrics, and I'm afraid of putting more of myself into that. Maybe if I were to do like an anonymous project where I just didn't give a fuck, maybe I would do it that way.
Yeah.
Not release it as locks, maybe something completely different, and hope that it gets enough attention, or I don't know, something. But I'm a scaredy cat. I'm a scaredy locks. Sorry, guys.
Maybe someday.
Scaredy locks?
Yes. Yes.
That's fun. I like that.
Yes.
I'm stealing that one.
Yes.
One person asked what your archive/vintage footage/sample fodder holy grail is.
Oh my god. So regarding archive music, I would say, however, it's kind of out now. Both are kind of out. Todd of Old English Spelling Bee sent me the original versions of Echo Jams, not the tape rip. He actually sent me the digital files that he got from Daniel. So that's a coveted thing in my archive. I also had a whole folder that Ramona had sent me and Liz on a personal like Facebook group that
Shout
we were
out
in.
Liz.
Yeah, shout out Liz. Absolutely. I love her. Love her to death. We had that, and Ramona actually ended up asking me if I still had it because nobody else seemed to have it. So that was a coveted thing. I had it on like 2 separate things in case I lost that. I did not want to lose those files because it was all archives and things that she never released, albums that she never released. I used to be a full-on Vectroid project archivist. I
couldn't have picked a better artist.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah, I followed. Ramona was how I got into Vaporwave because we met through a Black Mod Super Rainbow fans tiny chat like proto SPF 420, and like I was a big fan. I ate up everything that she released because she was releasing like weirdo, like hypnagogic pop kind of things that would never officially like really come out. However, I think a lot of it ended up getting released around 2016 as I vanished because I came back and I was like, oh, that's all I did? Oh, that's all? Oh, cool. Like, so that was pretty neat. That was a coveted thing. Visual things. I have a full episode of Doctor Who that had the Max Headroom hijack incident.
Nice.
Oh yeah, of course, the most famous TV pirating.
That's too cool.
Invasion.
Yes, iconic.
Love that.
And I had that, and I also, one of my favorite commercial blocks is actually, it's kind of random, but it is a Hall & Oates American Bandstand episode and all the commercial blocks that came with it. Because during American Bandstand, those commercial blocks had the coolest, amazing commercials that came with it. Because it was very like, we were trying to be cool. We were trying to be like MTV, like beautiful, flashy visuals that were appealing to teenagers, trying to get them to buy clothing, buy Walkmans, buy this compilation.
Buy Walkmans.
Yes, the VH
Go to the
Neon
mall.
Nights compilation was on the Hall & Oates commercial block. That was how I discovered the Neon Nights commercial, was because I downloaded a full Hall & Oates episode of American Bandstand, and it was in there. And I said, holy shit, this is changing my life. This is it. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
So, yes. I'm trying to think of others. I honestly, it's kind of hard to think about digital archive. I have like, I would say almost a full gig of commercial blocks saved on my external hard drive. I have a lot. I've saved a lot over the years. I mean, a lot of them now you can't even find on YouTube. So it's like, I'm glad I preserved them, because some of the things I've looked for and the channel's gotten taken down due to copyright or what have you.
Oh, I hate that. That's always so disappointing.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, 100%.
That's badass. One viewer wants to know if you are a fan of Japanese city pop.
I like some of it. I do. I haven't like dived into it, and honestly, I did not hear Plastic Love in full until I came back as Lux.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it might get, like, if it's not exactly in like what you're doing, and it's not exactly your main focus, like these things sometimes pass us by. We didn't even realize like how important they are until like you come back, you're like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't know.
I mean, some of it's really neat. Like, I gotta give a special shout out to like to Seaside Lovers. That's like the closest city pop that I'm truly obsessed with, and I don't mean
That's a good one.
The city pop, but I feel like they were kind of like an entryway into the city pop that is known and loved, because they were kind of like in the 1980s Japanese bubble that was going on. It was like, I don't know, there's just something about that Seaside Lovers album, and I want to say Pacific, that album as well. That album was great. Oh my god. I meant to like get more into city pop. I feel like it would be really up my alley, because I did use quite a bit of J-pop for early Lux material before I was like, oh shit.
Really?
This. Yes, I did.
Did not know that.
Me and Groovy share a sample with What's Going On.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's a good ass song.
It's a bop. It fucking slaps. But I didn't really get into city pop. And hot take, I don't really consider future funk that is with city pop, that I don't really consider it to be future funk. I call it city funk, because I don't know, it's not the future funk that I so there you go. There's a hot take.
I could vibe with that, honestly. There's a very different sound between like just funky up-tempo vaporwave and the like kind of anime-esque, like night tempo type stuff. It's definitely two different things.
Yeah, I was. Don't get me wrong. I love Sailor Wave. Otherwise, I would not have.
Yeah, you released Sailor Wave.
I did. And I love that album. That album was fun as hell. But I don't know. It's just a lot of it got kind of old for me, and I feel bad for saying that. But yeah.
There's a lot of bad future funk, but when it's good, it's real good.
You said it for me. I don't
There's a
have
lot
to
of
say
bad
it.
in all the genres, right?
It's true.
And
You got to go through the rough to find the diamonds, and that's okay. So we talk about on Hot Takes, right? Another viewer asks...
appreciate it.
I'll be the bad guy today. It's okay. Another viewer asks if you have a favorite smooth jazz artist.
Ooh. I don't want to say the Rippingtons because that's like too cliche. As is Skinny G.
I mean, they are badass.
That is true. That is true. I don't know if Ronnie Laws is... I don't think Ronnie Laws would be considered smooth jazz, but I really like everything I've heard from Ronnie Laws. So that'll be my answer. Ronnie Laws
All right.
is the shit.
Ronnie Laws. Okay.
Yes.
Another viewer asks if you plan on doing any more tape re-releases.
It kind of depends. Usually I let the labels make those decisions. Sometimes the labels will be like, hey, we get a lot of people asking about this. You want to do this again? And I'll eventually say, yeah, sure. So I don't really put it out there. It's usually the labels that come back to me because I don't want to, I don't know. I'm weird. I don't want to, I guess I get nervous about maybe pressuring a label or like maybe like if they don't want to do a re-release, if I ask about it, they're like, I guess so. Like, I don't know. I usually let the labels come to me about those. So maybe I'll do more re-releases in the future. I know Late Night Delight is getting a reissue with My Pet Flamingo.
Damn. Okay,
Yes.
y'all heard it here.
Yes. Yes. That's already kind of been out there. I just don't have a like exact date. I think they're just kind of waiting on records to show up. I'm not 100% certain on that. But
Amazing.
I mean, if Crash Cymbals wants to re-release World Class, then sure, why not? Fuck it.
Yeah.
If Classic Response wants to do another Mood re-release, then sure, why not? We have to get Noir out first, though. And I don't know. I'm down if anybody else wants to be. I mean, unfortunately, there's one release that will probably never get a reissue, and that is With Love, for unfortunate reasons that I cannot get into. That is
Ooh, too hot for hot takes?
yeah.
Personal is personal, you know?
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Groovy asks what your favorite kind of food is.
Ooh, tacos. Street
Tacos. Wow. What kind of taco?
Delicious. I like barbacoa a lot. Although I think
Oh,
I say
I
it
love
like a
barbacoa. We have a great place in Philly that has amazing barbacoa.
Man, LA street tacos are to die for.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a place here that has the best barbacoa that is absolutely to die for.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like it.
I gotta make my way out to your neck of the woods at some point soon.
Yes. I mean, Kentucky kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's quite charming. You can say hi.
It's Louisville, right? So that's like you've got your you got the
We're
scene
neighbors.
there.
We're neighbors.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Yes. Close. Very close. I feel like where I live has more of a weirdo scene.
Well, that's what it always looks like to me when I watch your stories. I'm like, it seems like a pretty good
Right?
scene over there.
Some cool people out there.
Yes. We have
Seems
some
like it when
really
I would watch
weird
your
connections.
the karaoke or the shows you go to over there.
Yeah, we have there's some really weird connections and really weird networks that come out of this pub in central Kentucky. And there's been some cool stuff. Before I moved up here, there was like an active noise scene. Because Hair
really?
Police came out of here. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody's
wild.
familiar with Hair Police in the chat. They toured with Sonic Youth, toured with Wolf Eyes. Hair Police was it. And a lot of people in the scene were very much into noise. And then they went into weirdo electronic, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
Everything Hair Police live was amazing. I will say that. But oh hey, I see a Pacific Plaza. I did meet Robert Schneider once. I've only met him once. He moved away before I really got to talk with him. Fun fact. So, but I know somebody else from Apples and Stereo.
Oh, you've mentioned this to me before.
Yes.
I remember.
One person just asked a really good question.
Yes.
Actually, there's two of them back to back. One of them's probably a quick, easy one. Favorite Sonic Youth album. And then the second person asked you to talk about lesser-known Vaporwave labels that predated Fortune 500.
Okay, I can totally do both. Okay, favorite Sonic Youth album, I will say Bad Moon Rising. Bad Moon Rising will forever be, even though Evil is still my favorite, and I own that on Bubblegum Pink vinyl. That's one record I will never get rid of. Bad Moon Rising will always resonate with me. Like, that was the album that I wanted, that was creepy in just the right way, noisy in just the right way, weird in just the right way, hit all the buttons for me. That would be my favorite. Followed, of course, by Evil, because Evil is perfect and wonderful and spectacular, etc. Now, I will say labels that existed before Fortune 500. Bandcamp was actually a pretty new thing whenever the early labels started. The labels that I gravitated to, of course, were like is it Chillwave, is it Witch House?
I miss that era so much.
Same. I mean, I'll admit, I of course I followed, of course, Crash Cymbals, Purr Tapes, Orange Milk. I even followed, even though I fucking trashed C-Punk, I did follow Coral Records because some of their releases were not quite like the C-Punk vibe, and they didn't give off, we're ego-driven and this is more image-driven than...
That was Splash Club 7's label, right?
That was Ultra Demon.
Oh.
Ultra Demon curated that.
Mm.
Yes. So I did follow Coral for some things, but a lot of the early, they have released labels that were releasing Vaporwave, getting coined as Vaporwave, were like, and it wasn't just Vaporwave, it was like cool internet music in general, were like Sun Up Recordings from Marcus Eads whenever he ran it, and then Scott Michael with Atlantis. And then I saw somebody mention Vapor Babes a little bit. Honestly, I wish I remembered more about Vapor Babes. Like I said, I want to say it was the same person that was releasing multiple things, or he had like a group of people that were releasing on that label. But I want to say that they maybe released about 10 or so albums, and then they just kind of disappeared because I didn't really see or hear very much from them. But it also could have been that I tuned out whenever pirate violence came into the picture, which I still don't really know what that is.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to think of other labels, but really, Bandcamp was kind of new in our realm. So many people were instead using SoundCloud.
True.
SoundCloud was like the bigger thing. That was how I found Drips. That was how I found a ton of artists. And I got to give a shout out real quick to Bitter TV. Because Bitter TV got me into quite a few artists. Yes. He got me into a few artists through a mix series that he and another person were doing called Main Do Control. But it would usually be spelled CTRL. That was how I got into Heat Stroke. That was how I heard about Bodyline. That was how I heard about a lot of
Bodyline.
Bodyline is good.
Yes, and he would do these mix series that would be, he would ask for people to do it, and my first 101.7 WAVE release was done as a 15-minute mix through that SoundCloud. But SoundCloud was usually our main component. Bandcamp was kind of there, kind of not. But I mean, early Vaporwave was released through some of these Bandcamp pages. I mean, Lasership Stereo was on Sunup and Atlantis, and
hell yeah, Lasership Stereo.
Yes.
Collabed with 18 Karat Affair, no? Or did a split, I think?
Yes, they did a split release called Pleasure Control, which I really hope gets released on tape again one day, because I am still kicking myself that I was poor as fuck and did not buy that tape, because now I can't find it anywhere, and whenever it is up, it is expensive, and it bums me out. If anybody is looking to sell their Pleasure Control tape, hey, talk to me on Twitter.
That's a good release.
I got you. Just saying. Hook me up. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of other labels. I'm blanking.
I think you've done a pretty good job.
Yeah. That's a lot of name dropping. I mean, that's really impressive.
I'm gonna once again add Chill Mega Chill to that list as well.
Yeah, thank you, Chill Mega Chill. I feel like
they had those Halloween comps, right? The Chiller.
They did.
Yeah. You were on one
of those.
Yeah.
I did a song, The Chilling, for one of them. But also, they originally released our buddy George Clanton's music.
Yes, Beer Kisses.
Yeah, Mirror
Early
Kisses.
Mirror.
That's right.
I believe Soaking Wet was originally released on Chill Mega Chill.
Unbelievable.
Okay, Dr. Chris, I'm going to ask you because you have to remember.
Okay.
Didn't George do a cover of Eyes Without a Face?
Yes, he did. It was on YouTube, and I remember watching it. Was it? Yeah, it was definitely. No, was it Eyes Without a Face or was it?
It was Eyes Without
I
a Face.
think it was Eyes Without a Face.
thought.
I'm pretty sure.
I was either Eyes Without a Face or that If You Leave, I Won't Cry. What's that song?
I think it was Eyes Without a Face.
It was Eyes Without a Face. Yeah, he did. It was a YouTube video of him doing it, and I don't believe it's up there anymore.
I know. I tried to look for it, and then I thought that maybe I was remembering it wrong. But I was like,
No,
I
he definitely
swear to
did.
God. Thank you.
No, he
I'm
definitely did.
You're not
fucking
crazy. I knew
Thank
it
you.
was. I couldn't remember which song it was, if it was that or the other one I was singing. But it was. You're right. It was Eyes Without a Face. Correct.
Yeah.
I do remember a straight up, 80s cover of that song.
Guys, we are coming to the end of our broadcast. This is the part that you know all too well, where you get to shout out anything and everything you want and tell us a little bit about anything cool you have coming up, or just say anything. You have the floor.
Well, first and foremost, I at least gotta say, for the people that really like Billy Idol, you gotta hear the Italian version of Eyes Without a Face that was released by an artist called Roberto Sandrini, called Aki Sudame.
Ooh.
It is actually better, in my opinion, than Eyes Without a Face because instead of like the hard rock bridge, it's like a beautiful piano solo. It's fucking
Okay.
sick.
Damn.
I'm just saying. So, Jazz, I just saw that. I don't know if I have the patience for my own podcast. I'm sorry, friend.
Farplane says Lux
sorry,
Elite, third co-host of Hot Takes.
Maybe.
That'd be
I have
cool.
a lot of ridiculous bullshit to spout. It's fun. I have more ridiculous bullshit to spout.
You just have to ask people every once in a while, what sucks?
And I would answer with a lot of things suck.
With the
No. I won't do that. I like being positive. So, okay, things that I'm doing, things that I'm working on. This week or next week, I will be part of Homesick Halloween Fest, which I'm
Hell yeah.
really excited about.
Hell yeah.
Same.
Doing something
Love
different.
them.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
so
shout out
excited
Be
about
Careful
it.
and Leo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shout out, Be Careful, and Leo. Excellent humans.
Yes, like I'm really excited about it because instead of doing a typical Lux set, it is 100% like a synthoween, like part 80 soundtrack,
Synthoween.
part
I'm
80
sure-
soundtrack, part synthwave, like very dark and vibes. Sleep Patterns doing my visuals and they're like really
Shout out
stellar.
Sleep Pattern.
Yes, so I'm really excited about that. I'm also working actively with Yobazol right now. He is doing visuals for my Helios Online set.
Hell yeah, Helios
birthday.
Online.
Yes. So that will be really neat. We're actually going to be doing something really different than typical commercial break visuals that I usually use for Lux. More on that later. So that's happening. I feel like there's a cool remix that I hinted to on my Twitter that is not out yet, but I
That
think
I
it's
almost
coming
said
out
something
soon.
about.
You did. I heard that I started
good
laughing.
call. Good way to stop
Whoops.
yourself, Isaac. Nicely done.
Yes. Oh, it's okay.
Nice editing.
Yes, but I did hint to it. I'm sure everybody already knows, but like it's coming soon from what I've been told. The folks that are part of it actually really, really enjoyed it. So I'm really stoked because I get really nervous about doing remixes because I'm always afraid I'm going to fuck them up. But they liked it, so that's all good. What else? We were actually supposed to in mid-October, actually no, mid-September, we were supposed to be releasing new classics on tape. But that has gotten pushed back some.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm supposed to divulge any more than that. But new classics is supposed to be coming out soon. I will keep you guys
Y'all
informed
heard
of
it here.
that. Yes, there you go. And Noir is coming out on tape soon. And of course, probably in the winter time, I will be focusing more on releasing Blue Eyeshadow on tape. That will be
Sick.
a Doom Trip.
Mm-mm-mm.
So,
Ooh,
yes,
hope y'all guys
Doom
heard that.
Trip. Yes.
Very cool.
And, God, I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what else it would be.
Homesick Fest,
I-
Helios, Remix,
Yeah.
Doom Trip.
Oh, Yes, and then also I have another mix that I did that I just finished that I sent off.
Oh yeah, that.
I used to do a whole bunch of like radio station, like radio show guest mixes for people. Like I did one for St. Pepsi back in the day. I did one for Young Muslim back in the day. And I've done some other like guest mixes. And I was asked to do a guest mix again. I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal
Go
that.
ahead. Yeah, you can say it.
Okay, it's for Space Jams. And they asked me to release, or they asked me to do a mix, like an hour-long mix. So I did like this like cumulative best of mix based upon my favorite tracks from these 4 mixes that I did between late 2012 and very early 2013. So that's going to be really exciting. It felt like a Neon Nights episode. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that is about it. I can't remember anything else. Watch me remember something and be like, God damn it, I forgot. But I think that's it.
Space Jams is an mostly outrun synthwave radio show out of Great Britain, run by a really nice guy named Jack D, DJ named JD. He's done work with Dan Terminus, Lost Outrider, LeBrock, bunch of well-known artists in the outrun synthwave scene. I've done a couple of sets for him, and now he's going to have Lux on there.
Yes, I'm excited about it. It's going to be really rad. And I think that's about it. And also, wait, before I let you guys do your thing, and I'm so sorry this is going over. I'm so sorry that I've not been able to like pay attention to the chat. I'll have to like rewatch it again. But I appreciate the fact that 52 of you guys are in here like listening to this. If you have any questions that you wanted to ask me and I did not get to, if you want to ask me on Twitter, go for it and I'll try to answer ASAP. Although I might be disappearing. There's some fun IRL things happening that I am not really alluding to. So I might be disappearing from Twitter for a few weeks. But
hell yeah. Do you want to address this question last minute that Alex asked? 3 Fortune 500 releases that people should check out?
Oh, God damn it. That's a hard question. Okay. The 3 that popped up at the top of my head, I apologize because all of these Fortune 500 releases are extremely special to me, and I do not like ranking Fortune 500 releases whatsoever because all of them, for me, have been special. There is something that was charming to me that I loved.
Topaz Gang. Tuxedo Princess.
Tuxedo Princess is definitely one. Tuxedo Princess was amazing to me. Second release that I would mention, if somebody were to check it out, would be Video 2000's Midnight Ride. That album was the beginning of what I believe is now called VHS pop. That one is really cool. A lot of people should get into it. I really liked his like mashup material of like really rad like funk with like Tupac vocals, like Sunset's fucking crazy. And then finally Kodak Cameo's Riviera.
That's a good one.
For the love of God, Far, please put that out on tape one day, my friend. If you're hearing this, I would love to see Riviera get the recognition it deserves with a tape release because that album is perfection. I have to give a shout out to SPF 420 for that because I would not have known about Kodak Cameo if he did not do an SPF 420 show first. As soon as I heard it, I was like, I have to have him on Fortune 500. Shout the fuck out, SPF 420. I love you, Chaz. I love you, Liz. You guys are everything. So, there you go. Those
amazing.
All right.
Chris, what do you have coming up, bro?
Okay, so I think just a week or so ago, the Winter Quilt remix album came out. I've got a song on that.
Nice.
Remix of his Cloven Hoof. The Pop Culture remix album is coming out soon. I've got a remix of Yukon on that. Terminally Chill NorCal is occurring on September 2nd, which is this Friday, right? Yeah, this Friday. And with, of course, Fantacat hosting it. And our special guest will be, of course, Alex, a.k.a. Trucks Passing Trucks, a.k.a. the man in charge of Pacific Plaza, a.k.a. our previous guest, who was had a wonderful, wonderful time speaking to him. You guys should go check out that previous episode if you haven't already. And also his right-hand man, Earthboy Advance, will also be there as well, throwing down a set. And then the following week would be the 7th in Philadelphia will be Terminally Chill.
Yeah.
And that'll be on the 7th, and that will, for your DJs for that event will be myself and Pat Chennington and James from Death's Dynamic Shroud, and we will be throwing it down in Philadelphia on the 7th.
I want to go so bad.
I would
we gotta
kill
bring it
to
to
be
you.
there.
God damn.
Oh, yeah, and then one more thing. The George Clanton show in Philadelphia is October 14th, but then after that, our buddies, the Philadelphia record label Virtua 94, are throwing an after party for that at Warehouse on Watts. So once you're done seeing George Clanton, mosey on down to Warehouse on Watts, and I'll be performing along with Death's Dynamic Shroud with James and Tech doing a show as well.
Sick.
And yeah, so it'll be Skeleton Lipstick and Death's Dynamic Shroud, and then of course a lot of great artists from the Virtua 94 roster will be opening, including Todosky, Mr. Hideyoshi, and
Love those
Boy
guys.
Paranormal, and some others. And I think there might be some special guests at that as well, but we'll see. So anyway, once you're done, if you're in Philadelphia and you're going to the George Clanton show, once that's over, head over to Warehouse on Watts to go see myself and James and Tech and a bunch of other fun surprises.
Please go dance for me, people.
Amazing.
I really want to go to a dance party so bad. Dance for me, please. For the love of fucking God. Do it. There. There's my
Oh,
endorsement.
there.
Sorry. Isaac, I want to
All
know
right.
what you have to say.
So I got a lot of stuff going on. We have the Homesick Halloween edition. I have a 30-minute dark synth set that Be Careful is doing my visuals for. I've seen the visuals. They are brutal. Be Careful is very skilled. You're definitely going to want to tune in because if you thought my Rosewood Rise set was bombastic, this one is full of bruisers. It's violent, man. Big time Carpenter Brute, Perturbator, Mega Drive type vibes. For Helios Online, which I'm also participating in, I've got a 20-minute Wave set. Chris, I talked with you a little bit about Wave. It's like
Yeah.
like
Wave.
kind of like Witch House influenced EDM, you know, like radio friendly trap music, drops and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, in it as well.
I'm very proud of it.
Fun. Very nebulous and ambient. Too.
Very much so.
Fun.
It's
But
very
with
short.
But with a solid like track, with a solid structure. You know what I mean?
In my typical fashion, I mean it ends with like an absolute explosion. So I'm very, very excited. You're gonna love it, Chris. I can't wait for you to hear it, honestly, because I know you're a big fan of like of Dream and that sort of thing.
I'm a big fan of wave music in general. Absolutely, yes.
Got a Wave set coming out for y'all.
Both of these sets are amazing. I'm just saying.
Oh,
That's
you're
my
too kind.
Aww.
And then I got something real special. I just got to go grab real quick.
Ooh.
Oh.
What?
What's the special thing you...
I don't know. What
I
the?
can't wait.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I saw this in your story, man. How fun. Look at that in big letters.
So
My
October
boy.
29 in Santa Ana, California,
My man.
Virtual Memory 27, featuring,
Hell yeah.
I've never seen my name so big in my whole life, with Mittens, Trucks Passing Trucks, our man Pacific Plaza. We got Earthboy Advanced Groovy Kaiju, the homie Aaron in chat with, I guess I'm headlining. I mean, my name is
Young
the biggest.
Shiro is
I have
the Steve Aoki of Vaporwave.
Dude,
for sure.
you're so kind. I have a 1-hour Future Funk set that is going to have every booty
fun.
bouncing. You're not going to
How
believe how
fun.
fun it's going to be.
It's really
Man, when
fun.
is it? When is this again? When is that
October
show?
29. It's a Friday.
I really want to go.
Fantacat's
Do
going to
it.
be there, dude.
really wanna pop
I'm
down for it.
so
So
excited.
funny.
And then there is
really want
also
to
still
so
the upcoming
badly.
Arizona show. We've got a soft date for it. It's going to be November. We don't have it announced yet. We don't have the performers all ready and set up and ready to go yet, but I've asked off. So going to be doing...
Is Fantacat coming to that?
Fantacat is not going to the Arizona show, but she's going.
No. To the
Yeah,
to the
she
Virtua.
said she got her tickets and she got her like plane
membership.
tickets and everything. So obviously you can
that's
get prints. I don't have the link, but you can get prints from Gumroad or whatever. All Hell Breaks Loops. $7. He did the artwork. I mean, they're amazing.
They're cheap AF and they arrive really quickly. I just got mine today as well.
Oh.
Very, very last thing, guys. The official Hot Take Spotify playlist. I've linked in chat. Check it out. It's going to be me and Chris's favorites, plus people we've had on the show. And if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe, follow. We're on every social media. I'll post the link tree. Thank you guys so much for being here. And tune in next week. If you enjoyed the episode with Lux and you're new to Hot Takes, join the Hot Takes Army. Be here, not next week, be here in 2 weeks because I've
that.
Wait.
already been talking with the man about who's going to be on next, and I think you guys are going to be excited.
Isaac, I hate
Alright.
to interrupt, but is it going to happen in 2 weeks? Because there's an IRL thing happening in 2 weeks.
What's 2 weeks IRL thing? What's happening in
Yikes.
2 weeks?
Okay,
We're
we'll
on the same day as us?
we may or may not have hot takes in 2 weeks, but we will communicate. We will communicate. Thank you for keeping me honest.
Yes, I was just like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Hold on, dear.
Thanks for the follow. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We love y'all.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Love you.
Thank you to our mods, and thank you to new and old fans alike. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.